You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
A salute to Service Day on Sunday at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Happy Veterans Day, everybody, as well here on a Monday. And we'll have a Jags Report live tonight with potentially the Salute to Service winner for the Jacksonville Jaguars, or nominee, and that is Trayvon Walker later tonight. There's the flyover, always cool. The flyover, come in different versions, don't they? And that's a good one yesterday at the bank. It was really not a good football game yesterday at the bank. 12-7 the score, so it's a close one once again, but I wouldn't say a good game from an entertainment standpoint. Had some moments. But my goodness, it was also a game that felt like it could have been 31-7 in favor of the Minnesota Vikings, and it also felt like it could have easily been a Jags win. What else is new? Happy birthday, Austen Lane. Hope you had a good weekend.
It was interesting. We'll get into that later. No, it was really good. Just one little minor detail.
Yeah. Don't let me forget about the story. If you teased the story, you haven't told us anything about the story, so now I want to hear the story.
Yeah.
Boy, we look like we're headed to a funeral today.
I feel like I've been heading to a funeral now the past couple weeks watching this team.
Oh, yeah. Join the fun, Hammy.
There we go.
Yeah. What a what?
Wearing our Monday's best, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. And I hope you're doing well and better than the Jags and better than Doug Pederson and better than Trevor Lawrence and better than Mac Jones. And holy cow. Where do you want to begin? Let's talk football. Here's the thing about the football part of it. Okay. I come out of this game, and sometimes you get to this point late in the season. We've covered many seasons where, and by the way, we're not really late in the season yet. That's one of the problems. We've got 2 months to go. But you can get to December, and you're like, all right, well, that's the same old stuff. Same old stuff, same old stuff, same old stuff. The problem with this team right now is this is the same old stuff already, and it just hasn't been fixed. And it really goes back to last year and a lot of the same old stuff. Sure, does it look different in spots? Yeah, because the defense finally got multiple turnovers in a game, so they did some really good things in that way. Last week, they played a lot of good football during the game and then gave up explosive plays. This week, it was the opposite. They really just kind of let Minnesota go up and down the field and control the whole game and then made huge plays. I mean, saved 21 points potentially kind of plays in this football game. But then the offensive side is really where the same old story is. I mean, what else do we say about this offense, Austin? I mean, 7 points. They actually scored in the first quarter. Actually had like a 4-point lead for the first time in forever in the first half. They played with that lead for a good chunk of the game. They never scored again. They can hardly get past midfield. It looks like an offense to me that's broken here in Jacksonville. And I'm not even sure that's Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones. I think we found out a little bit about that whole conversation.
Yeah.
But it just looks like an offense that's broken. It looks like they're grasping. Looks like they don't really know what they're good at. And they don't know how to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, this, I don't know. I'm trying to rank, like, in terms of frustrating Jaguars games, like where this one is on the list, because there seems to be so many of them this year. I will say this. The Minnesota Vikings had by far their worst game in a long time. Sam Darnold might have had his worst game in his career, and this is saying a lot that a guy that was essentially just a leper with the New York Jets. The game was on a silver platter. Your defense showed up. Your defense shut down Justin Jefferson. Your defense caused turnovers. Your defense had your back. And what does the offense do? A whole lot of nothing, set aside from an opening drive. And yeah, I've been adamant about this. Like, I'm not a Mac Jones. Like, I think he's okay. Like, I don't think he's going to be a savior or anything. Like, maybe he'll get a shot one day on another team. But, like, I wasn't ready to come in here and talk about, well, Mac Jones had a day with 4 touchdowns and all this stuff, especially against the Vikings defense with Vance Joseph, that they really tailor-make their defense depending on who you're doing and what you're trying to do. And guess what?
Flores.
I'm sorry, yeah, Brian Flores. Yeah, thank you very much. My bad. And I think it says a lot. Like, yeah, they kind of give up that touchdown to start things off, and then they adjust. And that's what good coaches do. That's what good coordinators do. They say, okay, they're trying to do this. Let's shut this down. Let's blitz a little more. Let's make Mac uncomfortable. And in that fourth quarter, Mac was uncomfortable. Yeah, let's have the excuses. Christian Kirk wasn't playing. 2 offensive linemen were out. All this stuff, it's great. But at the end of the day, when you have an offensive-minded head coach, when you are supposed to be an offensive-minded team as your identity, and you put up 7 points, Not acceptable. Not acceptable in any realm. But once again, let's come in here on a Monday, talk about the same stuff. Yeah, maybe you should make a change. It won't happen. So we'll just keep on coming. Like, I'm honestly sick and tired of it, man. I'm sick and tired of coming here every single Monday, complaining about the same things, wanting a change. Nothing happens. We go play Detroit. It'll probably be more of the same. And then we'll talk about the bye week. You can make a change? Probably not. And then it'll be more of the, like, it's Groundhog's Day. It's Groundhog's Day for this team in the worst way possible.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more big picture if the changes come. We know the change isn't coming right now, right? I mean, that's not happening, but maybe next week. I mean, is that a possible landing spot for a change? And maybe that conversation, I know it's already been kind of going on, but maybe needs to be turned up a little bit. Just what was interesting about this game, they actually went, I think, 4 of 10 from three-point range.
From the land of good and plenty?
From third down. I'm on to the Ospreys already, man.
We have to get there, though, for real.
Third down conversions. Yeah. 4 of 10, which is like damn good for the Jags. Like really good. But their first down was awful. Like, there was a stretch in the game, I tweeted this out, I think it was in the second half, where they had 5 plays on first down, and 4 of them were -8, -8, -3, -1 on first down. So this was kind of a deal where it's like, it's kind of like flipped. And first down's always critical, even on the third down stuff, but we've talked a lot about the third downs. It's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5, and it's still manageable, and the Jags have struggled. This one was like, you could never get into a rhythm of this offense. They blew up every play on first down. Some of them were just because run plays. Other ones were because running backs missed a block, and Matt got blindsided. It seemed like there were some communication issues in this football game. If you want to go to the personnel part of it, I don't know how banged up the hamstring is of D'Ernest Johnson, but I think he played a few snaps. I'd love to know how many snaps Johnson played, because what's interesting to me, and this is where I say they're grasping at straws, okay? Because last week I was very critical about the Jags playing D'Ernest Johnson a lot down the stretch, and especially in some specific instances. Mm-hmm. And I understand he's your passing protector back. Like, he's your best one at it, and so he's going to be in there in those pass situations. Didn't it feel a little bit, now all the running backs are injured to some degree, but didn't it feel like, they're like, okay, we're not putting D'Ernest in this week. We're going to keep tanking. We're going to keep ETN in. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, on these obvious passing downs or whatever passing downs, is that the right move? It's like they did a 180 and said, we're not going to play D'Ernest Johnson much today. He was the guy you hoped was the hero last week on the route. What do you have snap count-wise, Hamby, on that?
4.
Yeah, so again, I do want to say this, though. I don't know how much of that has to do with the hamstring. I think you have to caveat that a little bit.
I would hope when you're playing behind and it's, a lot of pass situations, I would hope the hamstring is an issue because, as we saw, Tank Bigsby in terms of pass coverage, probably not the best.
He's not, and we knew that, and we've been telling you that. And if you wonder why Tank's on the game, my beef last week was Tank and ETN could have been in the game because there was plenty of time on the clock. And once you do put D'Ernest in, you're kind of telling everybody you're passing most of the time. So it's a little bit of a tell. So, but that's my point. You go back and forth. I did this a couple weeks ago in London when it was Nielsen, who doesn't like to blitz, and then he blitzed like 2 out of 3 plays early in that game, and Drake May beat him on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys you don't know who you are. Correct. You don't know who you are. You're just like reaching right now. You have no answers, and so you don't know who you are as an offense. You don't know who you are most of the time as a defense. I will give credit to Nielsen and the Jags. They were like, we're not getting beat on explosive plays, and I can appreciate that. You suck at it. You're the worst team in the league on explosive plays. They've got Justin Jefferson. It's the first time this year he didn't catch a ball for 25 yards plus. Did a nice job on him. They made him go the whole way. Yeah. They said, Sam Darnold, can you beat us? And quite frankly, Sam Darnold couldn't.
They said, can TJ Hawkinson beat us?
And
TJ Hawkinson beat you.
He did, but then they didn't score a touchdown.
No,
so
I'm
just telling you, at least they changed something and it seemed to work.
No, I hear you. No, absolutely. Like, listen, if I'm going to shut down one player on the Vikings, it's got to be Jay Jettis, right? It's obvious. But, like, that goes to show you what a good team can do. When your best player, maybe like Brian Thomas Jr., for the Jaguars gets shut down, what do the Jaguars do? All right, Evan Ingram for a 5-yard out route when it's 3rd and whatever. Like, that's all they had. Well, the Vikings, all right, we got Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, go ahead and pound the rock a little bit. Like, they have other weapons. They have ways like, hey, when plan A doesn't go well, we got plan B. We got plan C, and we got plan D. The Jaguars, if plan A doesn't work, we'll take an L.
It does feel that way, right? I mean, it just doesn't.
But no, that's how it is. It's not feeling anything. That's the way that it goes.
I mean, you watch like that game last night, and again, we don't watch a lot of football on Sundays, usually at the Jags. But the spacing, like what is open? I mean, and Detroit, we'll talk about it a little bit later, to throw 5 picks, but it's just like, why does that look so easy for people? And why does it look so hard? And here's the thing about it: this is not year 1 of the offense. This is year 3, and even when your quarterback goes out. Your GM went and traded for Mac Jones, who's a capable backup. You should be able, he understands football, should be able to run the offense. Right now, this offense doesn't run. I mean, I got to tell you, folks, like Christian Kirk must be the most valuable player that's ever existed in the National Football League because this team can't function without Christian Kirk, it feels like. I mean, it's unbelievable what they do without him in the lineup.
Sure, but then what is he? Is he just a decoy? Because when he was in the game, it wasn't like he was getting all these targets anyway.
That's true.
So what is he? He's getting double teams?
I have no idea. I mean,
he's the decoy?
Good cheerleader in the huddle? Like, I don't know. It's just a weird deal where their offense just like goes away when he's not around it. And with the exception of like one game last year.
But you saw, that was the excuse though with Ingram. It's like, okay, well, Evan Ingram's out, offense is stagnant, like he really makes this machine run. Evan Ingram comes back and what happens? Yeah. It's more of the same. Yeah. Like it's who they are is who they are.
The engine's broken, and who they are is who they are, but we don't know who they are still. And that's a big
It's not a good team. I'll tell you they're not a good team.
Well, I mean, we don't know what they're trying to be even on offense, I guess is the point. Like, what are they trying to do? And they're trying to combat a defense each and every week that obviously, to your point, was a pretty good defense. But once again, we got that. It's like, well, they did a great job. They did a great job. It's like, they did a great job. Okay, well, the job here is to do better than them, is to figure it out. Like, were there that big of secrets that Minnesota was presenting yesterday? I mean, you kind of know who they are halfway through the season.
Made them seem like the best defense since freaking Legion of Boom.
And listen, I agree. The Minnesota's defense is good. That's fine. I'll tip my cap to them. But they ain't the 85 Bears. I mean, come on. You can move the ball. You can do some things. They did it, and then they never did it again. The stats just keep piling up. All right, they're 3-13 in their last 16. The last 2 weeks they've crossed midfield in the first half one time. That was yesterday when they scored a touchdown. Well, that's midfield. I don't even know if I think they got past midfield late in the game when Mac threw the other touchdown. That might have been the only other time they got past midfield in the game. Again, this is offense. The defense on the field a ton, 42 minutes. They couldn't stop third downs. I get it. But your offense could go out there and control the clock a little bit, get first downs, keep the other team off the field. That's a part of it, too. This is all about the offense. Here's the thing. We know the Jags' defense isn't good. But they got you 3 turnovers. You were +3 in the turnover margin, and you had a 1-point lead. Mm-hmm. And then the dam breaks again because Mac really made some bad plays. Mac Jones wasn't good enough yesterday, obviously.
No, not even close, man.
Really
it was bad, and like, listen, I don't like. Is this more on Mac Jones, or is it more on this Jaguars team as a whole unit, as an offense, right? Because I look at the Green Bay Packers, who lose Jordan Love for a couple games. They bring in Malik Willis, and we've seen Malik Willis. All right, nobody is scared of Malik Willis.
Terrible quarterback.
Yes, the dude can run, with his legs. He can be a dual threat guy, but nobody is scared of his arm. But it goes to show you when you have a competent organization, actually a pretty quality organization, with a good offensive-minded coach, with good offensive players, you can win games with Malik Willis, okay? They did it in Jacksonville, and they did it 2 other times. I forgot who they played. I think they played the Titans and maybe the Colts, I think he beat. And I remember the Colts game, it wasn't an offensive juggernaut showing from the Packers, but they still found a way to win the game, all right? Mac Jones, former first-round quarterback, think what you want about him, but I feel like he had enough tools to be successful yesterday, right? Yeah, you didn't have Christian Kirk, okay, and maybe Christian Kirk is the problem here. Maybe him not being in the game is the goal and ticket why the Jaguars can't win. I don't think so, but maybe that's the case. But you still have Brian Thomas Jr. You still have a run game. 2 offensive linemen are out. Got to make it work, right? And when the game's on the line in the fourth quarter, you choke.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, it's not all on Mac Jones, right? Pass blocking could be better, all this stuff. But listen, you were brought here for a reason.
Yeah, no.
And
it wasn't good enough.
And it was not good enough.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. Hey, listen, it's a mess. The news conference after, we'll get to that in just a bit. We're going to take a break here shortly. But the Your overall, I know you just came in and said, hey, until they change it, they change. So I really don't even have to ask you. Like, it's time to change it, right?
No, I don't care anymore, man. Like, I've been saying change it for the past, 3 weeks now. Like, I'm tired of saying the same thing. Obviously, Shad Khan's good. If you want to be stubborn and you want to wait for the whole year, then wait for the whole year, man. Like, I'm tired of saying the same thing, Brent. I really am. Like, it's because nothing's changed. So, what more do you want me to say? Yeah, I think you should make a change. I don't think your offense is that good right now. I think your offense was supposed to be your identity, and you can't even put 10 points on the board. Yeah, I would probably change something, but that's just me.
We'll see if the Jags do it. I think they're not doing it this week, I don't believe. I mean, that would be a bit surprising. But I do think next week opens the door for that. So I want to get into that a little bit more. What can they change? How swift will the changes be, or could they be? And do you clean everything now? I mean, how much can you really do from a function standpoint, right? With 6 games to go after the Detroit game, which really, the Jags are a 12-point underdogs already, and it seems like not enough going into that football game. That's where we are at. Listen, I always give credit to the players and stuff. They are playing. They're playing. I thought they played with a lot of passion yesterday. A lot of energy. And I think people tried to spin that early on, like, oh, Trevor's not in the game. They're playing with a lot of energy because of Mac Jones. No, they were playing a lot of energy because they had a 4-point lead and they had turned the ball over twice. They got 2 turnovers. That's why they were playing. But they did. They kept playing. They kept battling. They keep doing that. I guess what you would say is, oh, they're pros. They should do that. Not every team does that. Like, they're in it, but they're just not good. Like, they're really not good. They're 2-8. 2-8. The Ospreys are 3-0. We'll talk to Matthew Driscoll a little bit later. Holy cow, what a start for those guys. A little bit around the National Football League. And, yeah, we're a lot of Jags today, of course, on a Monday. Hope you're doing well and had a good weekend. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jags 24/7 Network.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym, to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, Cam Robinson was back. Interesting day for Cam, right? Looked like he was ready to go. He got, well, that was at the end of the game, okay, with him winning the football game back here in Jacksonville, probably like that, of course. He's lost many football games here in Jacksonville. And who's he with right there? Is he, can't make out, some strength and conditioning guys and everybody else. So Cam was back. Interesting day, though, because had that penalty.
Head was in a beehive a little bit.
Had another penalty.
Head was in a beehive a little bit.
Another penalty.
Head was definitely in a beehive, buzzing.
Got run over by Josh Hines-Allen early.
Happens.
But then I think did a pretty good job, right? I mean,
Didn't hear a peep from Josh the rest of the game.
I thought the pass rush of the Jags was disappointing last night. And I know everybody gets on that like all the time. I thought Darnold had a lot of time for the most part, and when he even had to be elusive, he was. They couldn't bring him down.
Yeah.
Darnold surprised me with some of that elusiveness. I guess I just haven't watched him enough or don't remember. I did not think that he would be able to get away from some of the stuff that he got away from. I thought they should have 3-4 sacks in that game, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, he, despite the 3 interceptions that cost my fantasy team, he did look pretty poised back there in terms of running the football, though, as well. Like, I mean, I wasn't expecting that. But once again, like, why should I be surprised?
Well, I mean, I just didn't know he had that.
Joe Flacco had 22 yards rushing against the Jaguars. So what do you mean you're not surprised?
Yeah,
Darnold had 28.
Is that what he had, 28?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's 1 point? Brent, the guy is 60 years old.
And he's as bad as I said he is, by the way.
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't a good look.
We had 1 sack.
We got a sack? Oh, Trayvon. Huge one, actually,
Trayvon,
right? Yeah,
yep.
Trayvon with the big one. So, hey, here's the deal. The Jags defense, like, what do you feel about their defensive performance? Like, good, bad, good, not good?
I mean, listen, if you look at the time of possession and everything, like, yeah, it affects you. But at the end of the day, I don't. And I'm going to break this down later because when we get into the whole press conference thing, which I'm sure everyone's waiting for, I'll get to that more.
We'll get to it.
I mean, seriously, man, like you're bearing the lead. You know that's what everyone's here to listen to. But anyways, I don't care about the yards given up. I don't care about Aaron Jones' rush. All I care about is, did your defense give you a chance to win the game? And the answer is unequivocally yes.
Yeah.
They did. Enough said.
Yeah. I mean, I really... And they almost could have had more. I mean, Darnold made some throws that were really bad.
Yeah.
And the job that they did on...
Cisco dropped one, right?
That was
wasn't
not
it?
a catch also.
Which one?
And the one in the back of the end zone, that was one that was just obviously they called it because it stands. If they would have called that on the field incomplete, they definitely would have kept it incomplete.
Really? I thought that was hard to tell. I didn't know if his hand was under it, and I could see what you're talking about. Like I thought it was hard to tell in the replays again, where we see from the press box, maybe a little bit different from if you're watching at home. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I also thought it was a tough one. And it looked like a catch in real time. So I can see.
Yeah.
I thought the officials, they made some really goofy calls yesterday on
Replay
plays that
assist,
were
huh?
not hard. Yeah, like the Ingram catch. And then there was another one. I can't remember which one. I was like, these aren't hard plays, dude. Like, how are you missing those live? Oh, it was the fumble. Remember when Mac fumbled?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Side note, real quick, doesn't it seem like replay assists came out of nowhere?
Yeah, but it's good.
It's good, but
It
it's like
speeds up the game.
incomplete. Actually, it is complete, but replay assist determined that it was incomplete. That was the Ingram catch.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hey,
Holy
the
cow.
thing about the replay assist, it's like it is the BW3 button.
Yeah.
Like it's like they said, we're watching, we're gonna hit it, we'll tell you, and they do help them out. So I appreciate the game's fast for those guys, and it moves quick. So that part is good. All right, so you guys want to get to the press conference?
Yeah, man.
Like we've been through a lot of these now, right? And the bottom line is, we said this: Doug hasn't been good in front of the mic this year,
This is correct.
right? I mean, he wasn't good in front of the mic this week. The Jags really, if you want to go put a montage of stuff together from this week going all the way back to last Sunday to yesterday on in front of a microphone, it's not good. Now, some are fun things and some's okay, but the way they are at 2-8 and they were 2-7, it's not a good look. There's a lot of things that I think if you're 6-3, you can get away with, or 7-2, you can certainly get away with. You can't, like even the rock, paper, scissors stuff, right? I mean, that's one of those that if you're winning, it's okay, it's fun. But it's not because you're not winning.
That was an interesting celebration too. That was funny with Trayvon Walker.
I didn't even see it.
Oh yeah,
I missed that.
They did the rock paper scissors.
They did do it?
Yeah,
I missed it. How did I miss that?
it's a nice touch.
Yeah, that's a good touch. I totally missed that. Sorry.
Well, you wouldn't get it, so
That was a sack celebration. Get him handy.
you wouldn't get it.
Get him handy.
I wouldn't get it. Yeah, that's going to be the new tagline, I guess. But listen, there was more from Doug. There are a lot of people insinuated or interpreted, I should say, is the better word, that Doug was throwing Trevor under the bus on Friday from a pain tolerance standpoint, and joking a little bit about the duffel bag stuff and kind of downplaying the fact that if it's a non-throwing shoulder injury. There was the Justin Jefferson snap back on the, hey, how's Sam Darnold playing?
Yep.
Right? There's stuff. And then somehow I seemingly find myself in the middle of all of it here on post-game press conferences, but not intentionally. And yesterday it kind of blew up again. And I actually think, overall, Doug wasn't bad from his demeanor standpoint yesterday on the podium. Not as we've seen him a little pouty at times after games. We've seen him very angry at times, right? We've kind of had all the levels of emotion from Doug.
It's been a roller coaster, yes.
Yeah, I didn't think this one was one of those. So maybe kind of surprised even more when we got another viral moment. Here's Doug.
What was the play? What was supposed to happen on the final Mac interception if he didn't get hit and throw the pick?
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the details of the play because you guys wouldn't figure it out. But we'll go look at the tape tomorrow and we'll make those corrections.
Were you asking about Brian Thomas Jr. too as well? Hamby,
People miss this part.
Let's go ahead and get the appetizer. Let's go ahead and get our mouths wet a little bit with the Brian Thomas Jr. question that Brent asked, because this is what I think stemmed everything. And then we can go on to the next one.
Minnesota did a nice job. They showed, if you watch the game, they showed a lot of 6-up, 7-up, which they do. Play a lot of, cover 2, spin out to cover 2, a lot of cloud stuff.
This was to the first question,
and then, of course, the pass rush.
that another
So
reporter asked.
It puts.
So Brent's question's coming up?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge. And
You got to watch his face.
Of course, yeah.
But you got to
you
tell
know,
people
we
because
obviously
it can
have to
be
do a better
hidden.
job when we see
Okay,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
You got to watch Doug's face.
Watch
when I
the
ask
reaction after Brent's question.
Execute. As coaches, we can.
I'm
prepare
pretty
a little
impressed
better
you caught
there
it.
and
Oh, who did get
help our
Brent?
guys
Are you
out,
kidding
but,
me?
I can
Everybody
really
caught
do
this.
I
They
didn't
should
hear
have.
people talking about that.
Doug, I know you mentioned that last week they were clouding Brian Thomas a little bit, taking him away. Do you see more of that kind of stuff today, or is it just Minnesota's defense? And is there
Little
anything
giggle?
you can do to get it to him and get him into the game, because it's been so minimal touching the ball the last couple of weeks?
Right there. Oh,
you know, they played more. I mean, this is a cover 2 defense, and they did a lot of that today. And then again, it's, you know, their pass rush did a nice job. Got some pressure on Mac, made him scramble early, and then
Number 17 made a great play.
So it's a combination of both, right? It's what they did schematically to us, and then just our execution offensively.
okay. So that was a Brent Martineau 2-piece and a side soda question, okay? So he asked the first question, which was a legitimate question. Why didn't the best player on your offense get the ball? Not trying to set you up, Doug. Not trying to call you out. A legitimate question. And you kind of had the little smirk, like you're smarter than Brent Martineau, like you're smarter than every single journalist or whatever in that room. Okay. And then the follow-up is, once again, not a really setting up question, not a bad question. The fact of, hey, what was that play supposed to be? Because anybody that watched it on TV or that was in Everbank, Stadium thought, what the hell was that? I said it.
What was supposed to happen on the final Mac interception if he didn't get hit and throw the pick?
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the details of the play because you guys wouldn't figure it out. But we'll look at the tape tomorrow and we'll make those corrections.
So you're the smartest man in the room because that's how you're acting. You know everything. Everyone's beneath you. You're the smartest man in the room. And you're supposed to guide this offense and everything like that. If this is truly the case, and you're the smartest man in the room, how many times has this offense kept the Jaguars in a game to win it? If you're so smart and you have all the answers and you want to crack jokes and everything, how many times has your offense kept this team in the game? I can name 2 times. 2. And guess what? Your defense, that is like ranked 30th, has kept you in the game in more games. Trust me, I've crunched the numbers. I did the research. Has kept you in the game more than your offense. But go ahead and crack jokes. Go and act like you know what you're talking about. Go ahead and act like everybody else is beneath you when your offense has literally shown up maybe twice this season.
Yeah, they really haven't. I said this yesterday. This defense isn't good, but they're actually the better part of the football team. I mean, really, they are right now.
Listen, I'm being serious here. I'm going to give them, because I can't give them the Dolphins game. Sorry. The first half, you were fine. Second half, didn't score. Okay?
Colts,
Patriots.
That's it.
I mean, Packers, I guess. I'll give the Pack. I'll give them 3.
Actually, that's fair.
I'll give them 3.
Yeah.
And they can look at their defense and go, well, Eagles, they kept them in it. Obviously. Vikings, they kept them in it. I can sit here and say, I would probably say Cleveland. I could say the Dolphins, even though, say what you want, but you kept them in it. So what? That's 4 versus 3. Is this not supposed to be an offensive-minded team? Is this not supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, an offensive leader? But your defense is keeping you in the games more than your offense is? Cool. But go ahead and act like you know everything. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a frustrated Doug Pederson who just hasn't handled the post games well. I mean, there's nothing else to say in terms of that. He has not handled it well. I go back and look at this, and obviously, Delphonic, thanks for putting it out there. I don't know if I truly mean thanks or not, but so it goes crazy, right? And I was actually thinking of this yesterday. I mean, the context of and the importance of that question in the big grand scheme of things is very minimal. It's not like, the one that Doug got mad about and probably had good reason to be annoyed by the Houston question. Right. I mean, I've gone back and forth with that one a lot, talked to a lot of people about that one and everything. And again, I was not necessarily coming from, hey, press Taylor's problem, all that stuff that had built up over the last year. I was coming from, can we jumpstart this thing in any way? Because you can't score over 20 points a game at the time. That's where that one came from. But Doug was coming from, if we hit 2 plays, we win the football game with our quarterback, right? I mean, that's where and they had called a pretty good game. I think everybody would agree. So the timing of that one, combined with the frustrating of the loss, combined with 0-4, combined with the quarterback play at that moment, I think was very, I could see why he was so bent on that one, and kind of always understood it. This one is different because, I mean, there really weren't a lot of hard questions yesterday because we're kind of out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're trying to do is, like I told you right when I got on here, what are the storylines? I mean, the bottom line, the storyline the last 2 weeks is they've been picked off in the end zone with a chance to win the football game. They've been picked off on first down in the end zone. That's the story. Trevor Lawrence last week, Mac Jones this week. So really, that's kind of the angle I was coming from in terms of that's going to probably be our story. I mean, this is the epitome of this football team. This is it in a nutshell. I mean, they are first down throws being picked off with a chance to win the football game. And this one came from the 40-yard line or 45-yard line. It's like, what in the world? So while I understand doesn't want to throw people under the bus, it does come with some kind of needs some kind of context here. Like, what is going on?
And it's not even about, in my opinion, throwing people underneath the bus. It's just answer the question.
Yeah. Well, what I later learned is that it's if you look at the Ben Solak guy who took this, I think you shared it with me, Hamby. It's like if that guy's right, which I'm assuming he is, seems to do a good job. He went back to a Cleveland play. And he basically said it was Brian Thomas on a sail route, and Brian Thomas was the guy that should have been the target most likely on the. Gabe Davis is never a target really on the play. He's just taking guys with him down the field, as the way I interpreted it. And Max got to hit Brian Thomas Jr. on that play. So really, as you get down to it, it's Mac's fault. Now, Mac's about to get hit. Was he thinking, now Mac doesn't shed light on it this way either, but is he thinking in the moment, I'm just going to throw this away because I can't get it where I want to get it? And he never put enough mustard on it because he also got hit, so it got picked. Was he trying to throw it out of the back of the end zone? I don't know. I mean, that's a long throw, right? There's a lot of different ways, but that's why we're asking. Right? That's why you're asking. And you guys know me. I never pretend to be an X's and O's guy. I do not. I'm not sitting here saying I look at tape and watch tape and understand all the concepts. And that's why we ask questions, though, because those guys know. And while they can't tell you everything, you hope to get a little context out of it. So it was a weird one to go crazy at. You know, I mean, it is what it is right now in Jacksonville. They're 2-8. They're not good. This was an interesting. But just another kind of hit in the Doug not so great hit list this year in front of a microphone.
And it's not a great look for the organization.
It's a bad look. This one was a bad look too.
And then this is the issue with it. Okay, it's like, dude, you came from Philly.
Right.
Like you came from a large market where their media are a lot worse than, the Jacksonville media. What are you upset about? You're 2-8. What? Because you're not getting ice cream questions? Hey, what's kind of ice cream? What do you expect right now? You're 2-8, and it's not like Brent's asking you crazy questions. He's asking you justifiable questions, and this is like, I don't know, the third week I'm about to say this, but I'll say it again because it's Groundhog's Day with this team. What you do, what you say after a loss, how you conduct yourself after a loss says a lot about your character. Because when you win, everything's gravy. You can say whatever you want, go the Bill Belichick route, doesn't matter, act however you want, you win football games. When you're going through adversity, when you keep on losing, that shows who you are. And congratulations, once again, yesterday, when it was a legitimate question, you showed your true colors. What are you expecting from this media? Like, do you want, hey, Doug, what's your favorite place to eat a burger in town? Is that what you want? After an embarrassing showing like that? Is that what you want? Because you're not going to get it. Like, yeah, it's Jacksonville, and it's a little easier than New York or Philly, but you're not getting the softball questions anymore, man. You're 2-8, okay? You haven't achieved expectations. What do you expect?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, go ahead. What do
you think Balky never having to talk to the media contributes to this? That it could be a factor that he's pissed that he's got to do it every week and he's got to talk to y'all 3 times a week and Balky never has to. And
yeah, I don't think so.
It's not even that even if he doesn't think it's Balky's fault, even if he is taking personal responsibility, just that he's always has to bear the brunt. And he's just tired of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I get what you're saying. I don't think so. He's been around the league for 30 years, man. Like he knows what it is. He knows what it is. And the head coach gets paid a lot more than the GM, and for reasons like this, right? I mean, that comes with the territory of the job. Mm. And I think Austen just hit on something. You're a former player, so you know this. These things get back to the team, right? I mean, how you talk in front of the media is sometimes coaches use a message through the media to get to their team. And so you've got to wonder a little bit. And listen, he hasn't, I don't know, from a lost locker room stuff. They're playing hard. They're competing. So whatever that looks like, I don't know. But it's a little surprising to have so many instances this year with Doug, considering the fact that you kind of know everybody's listening, not just fans and everybody else, but his team. Like, that's the most important part of it, right?
Yeah.
If you're in that locker room, maybe you just pay no attention to these kind of moments, but they're adding up. They're numerous now. Like, in the middle of the week, after games, we always say, like, I anticipate Doug will be very good today. He's very good on Monday coming off the Sunday. Like, it's weird, but there was one Monday. I think it was the Cleveland one or something else where he wasn't great. But I don't know. This is this is so surprising to me because he's been around it for so long. Because he's like, I don't think he's a bad guy. Like, I don't like all this stuff. Like, this is Urban Meyer-esque in front of the podium at times in a different way. Urban was aloof. This is more a little bit condescending at times. And my theory on that, if you really want to hear it, is really based on the Philadelphia stuff. Philadelphia is a hardcore media. If you can pass through that media, if you can get through that, if you can survive that, you have done something, quite frankly. Like, if you can handle that. And Doug did, and he did it for a handful of years, and he did it prior as a player, and he did it prior as an assistant coach and all those things. So he's seen it. I honestly think he believes, and this is a subconscious thing, I don't think it's a calculated thing, but we all do this from time to time. I think if I was a psychologist, I would say he thinks we have like a JV media here in Jacksonville, quite frankly. I don't think he has a lot of respect for our media. I don't think he has a lot of there's a lot of younger people in our media. I don't think it's as noisy and hard-hitting and crazy and, inflammatory as the bigger markets. Like, everybody would say that, right? But it doesn't mean you can't get good questions. Like, our media asks fine questions. They're doing their job. But I think his view of our media is actually impacting the way he's responding to questions. I said this back in Houston. There was a time in Houston in that media where DeRocco asked some questions, and I did too, and he's grading the questions. He's like, basically, like, what kind of question is that? Or, that's not like, I don't get the question. Like, when you start grading the questions as a coach instead of just answering the questions, I think you're basically telling us, like, you guys are idiots, and quite frankly, I would acknowledge that, yeah, we are. That's why we're asking the questions. We're trying to figure out, get some responses to what's going on. So I think that's a little bit it. I think he doesn't have a lot of respect for our media based on where he's been before. And I'm telling you, that's not a calculated thing. I think that's more of a subconscious thing, because once you've been through that fire, everything's probably a lot easier. And he thought this maybe is a walk in the park. And this is the first time he's had adversity, right, this year, and he's had adversity and had to handle things like this. And honestly, he just hasn't handled it great from day one, from the play calling of the offseason to all of this.
I mean, I don't think once again, this is not in the press conference, but I'm saying on the field, you couldn't handle it last year either. When Trevor gets banged up against Cincinnati and everything, it all goes downhill, and you don't know how to climb yourselves out. Like, you dig yourselves a hole. Sure, you beat the Carolina Panthers, and that's it. This is, once again, I feel like I'm living in Groundhog's Day. I can't remember what week I said this, but it's like when you said we have to look at ourselves in the mirror, and then we had how many players tell us, okay, we gotta look ourselves in the mirror. Like, you get the sense that what Doug says at the press conferences is also being echoed to these players, right? And that's how a coach's supposed to be. Like, you say something, the players pick up on it, and then they say it back. I don't think, and once again, what do I know, right? Because Doug Pederson knows a lot more than I do, but I don't think it's a really good leadership quality to have. You're going to say all this stuff to the media, and then probably have your players echo the same thing. Right? Because there's no accountability, there's no responsibility. Like, it's just, okay, yeah, I know something you guys don't know, and this stems way back in training camp, Brent. It stems way back from the whole play calling thing. Like, this is, if you want to break this season down and you want to wrap it up to, like, one thing we can all take away from it, is that this coaching staff, and more specifically Doug Pederson, had the arrogance that they knew something that nobody else did. And this doesn't go just back to Brent's question yesterday. This stems back to the play calling thing. Y'all thought you knew something that we all didn't, right? And when we questioned it, when we said, I'm not sure if we should do it, I'm not sure if you should, like, we tried to help you, and you're like, nah. It's Jacksonville media. This ain't Philly. This ain't New York. It's a small market team. I know what I'm doing. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, well, I'm not going to bring up receipts and say, I think I was more right than you, but I could if I wanted to. But the point is that where did that arrogance get you? It got you 2-8. And it got you us, instead of breaking down what we should be breaking down on the field, we're breaking down comments that you say weekend after weekend at a press conference.
Well, and not only, it's not just the play calling or these current things after games. Hamby, it goes back to Ryan Nielsen and the no depth chart thing and the who's going to play linebacker, and we've got 3 of this and we've got 3 of that, and this coyness of this whole thing. It goes back to Trent Baalke, quite frankly. We have enough edge rushers, and the arrogance to maybe say, hey, Eric Armstead's better on the outside for this defense rather than on the inside. Is he really? I saw him get a pressure against Sam Darnold right in his face from the inside again yesterday. So there is a little bit of that. Like and listen, we don't need to be right. I think
it's not our job to be right.
No, we don't need to be right. Your job is to be right. And also, we're like, I shouldn't say we're in the media. I'm saying we're in Jacksonville as a whole rooting for you to be right.
Yeah.
Like, we want you to be right. Like, you're being wrong. And so the big thing, the big umbrella of this, and we said this, man, we said this on the play calling. We made T-shirts about the play calling. The reason why the play calling thing was such a big deal, and they missed on this, they whiffed on this, they didn't feel like it, they live in their own bubble, they didn't have a good feel for why this was so big, is because it was going to be an underbelly of the entire season if it didn't go well. Make your decision. Say your decision, show transparency why you made your decision. Doug Pederson's biggest flaw in 2024 is his lack of transparency, and that does trickle down to whether it's Trent Baalke or whether that's Ryan Nielsen and others. Transparency is king, and you hiding stuff and then being wrong makes it look bad. And when you hide stuff, people make their own interpretations. I said this when the Coughlin era was around. When you don't let people in at all, when you don't have anybody defending the organization, when you have nobody relaying any real information from the organization, their point of view, whether it's right or wrong, nobody defends it, no transparency, we're left to just make up our own things. And the fans and social media and all that's on steroids here in Jacksonville right now because everybody's making their own assumptions. And what assumptions are coming out of there? Doug hates Trevor.
Yep.
Trevor maybe doesn't want to play because he doesn't like these guys.
Correct.
Those are the kind of things. Is that real? I don't think that's real.
But we don't have clarification.
But Doug has created that. This organization has created that because of their lack of transparency. So you go all the way back to January and you say, oh, Doug and Trent hate each other. Doug and Trent lost 5 out of 6. They hate each other. Why? People said that for 2 weeks because Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson never got up in front of a podium and talked together.
Yeah.
They should have just come out and said, we sucked. We own it. This will never happen again. We're still on the same page. We're going to fix it. It's easy. Wednesday morning when they when they go get CJ Beathard. Come on, man, this wasn't a secret. Trevor came out of the game banged up. Kudos to him. He played through the second half, gave us a chance to win it, but he's still sore. We're concerned that he might not be able to make it to Sunday. We activate CJ Beathard. We like CJ Beathard. We think he knows our offense. If he has to be able to be our backup, cool. If Mac Jones is here, that's why we brought him in. If Trevor can't go, but he's going to try to tough it out. Boom. Easy. No, instead it was, we brought CJ Beathard in to bolster the roster. What the
But see, this is the thing. And like, this is what I don't understand because we're not in a large market. Like, you're not on all these radio shows getting lambasted, Doug. All right? Like, yeah, you are a little bit every once in a while, as you should be because you're 2-8, but it could be so much worse. What I don't understand, and I'm going to be honest, I had receipts. I had a full clip yesterday ready to go on Twitter, Brent. I was waiting for you to tweet something first because I wasn't going to like go out of line. I'm like, Brent runs the show. If Brent says something, then guess what? I'm coming over the top. It's going to be Stockton and Malone. But you said, just stand down, everybody. My finger was on the nuclear button, and I'm like, man, I have so many things I want to say. I have receipts. I have DMs that I could post up. I'm not going to do it, right? Because Brent said, back off. What pissed me off, and listen, you're a better man than I am, because you almost like you set him up to help himself out. Yeah. You set him up to help the organization out. You asked him the question, what was the play supposed to be? You answer the question, what the play was supposed to be, and we move on. And all of a sudden it makes you maybe look a little better. Okay, maybe Mac Jones made a mistake. Maybe Gabe Davis made the mistake. Whoever. Like, the media is not the enemy. And you're treating them like you're so much better. They're trying to help you out, man. They're trying to ask you the questions. Go, hey, Doug, we're trying to clear stuff up right now for you. Go and answer this question so we can put you in a better light. And what do you want to do? You want to be smirky, you want to be cocky, and be all high and mighty. And then it makes yourself look even worse.
And that's where I'm going. I think my biggest issue with this is how surprising it is, because this reflects his character. And that was never in small ways it does. Like, we're not, he's nowhere, that's the urban part of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's
strictly on the podium, because everybody fan would have told you the last year and a half that Doug is a high character guy. Also, he's very likable. So even when you lose 5 out of your last 6 last year, Doug is so likable that there's really no question that he is the guy for your franchise. Now, not only is he bad on the field, he's not likable. He's arrogant. He's pesky. He's doing all these things that reflects his character. He can't handle this. These not softball questions, but for him should be very easy to answer. It reflects his character, and it's a change. He has changed. Losing has changed him and his personality, and I think that's why fans are so pissed.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do think about this part of it. I try to think about the other side a lot when we do this kind of stuff, and this is part of the reason why I don't want to grandstand on the whole like I don't need to be a part of this. It's a very uncomfortable situation for me to be a part of this, quite frankly, so many times.
Come on, Brent. Go get in it, man.
No, I'm not getting in it.
Do it, man. TMZ it. Let's go.
I'm not doing the Dallas D's nuts stuff. All right? Like, I'm not getting in it. Like, I get it. That's people do that in our business. I'm not doing it. This is not where my comfort zone is. Being in it. So, and if I got rich off it and all the clicks and everything, that'd be one thing. Yeah, I don't make any more money by doing
Brent,
it.
Just give me your phone for a day, okay? Just, go ahead and take a little vacation. Give me your phone and your password. Me and Hamby will take it from here. Yeah. Okay? We got you.
But, yeah, I don't... I'm just surprised that this is the Doug we've got. I'm really surprised because I will continue to say this. Like, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think what I was trying to get to before I said that was he's frustrated. I think he's really frustrated. I think this is a very frustrating season. I have said this now multiple times in the last couple of weeks. This is the strangest season I've covered in Jacksonville. 16 of them. If you go back to the last 15 years, they've only been, after 10 games, above 500 3 times. It's been miserable in Jacksonville. It's been bad. And this is the strangest one of all time for me. And so I would suspect Doug, in the inner circles of this, his frustration level is at a ridiculous high.
Has to
right?
be.
Ridiculous high.
And pressure too, obviously.
And obviously there comes pressure on that. And I don't even know if he's really succumbed to the pressure. He gets that part of it. But my guess is the frustration is so high, where this is a guy that pushed so many right buttons, showed the right videos on Saturday nights, made the right calls to kick a field goal or go for it at the end of 2022, to find their way to win and get to 8-3 and have the organization right where they needed to be. And he's got no answers. And this is a guy that's had answers before. He had answers in Philly, of all places. Yeah. He had answers in Jacksonville, all places, that couldn't win. He turned it around. And now he's got no answers, man. That's a frustrating thing. And I think that's what is coming out. So I don't necessarily agree all the time when you guys say that's his character. I think this is like a different circumstance. This guy's lived a pretty long life right now in the NFL, right? I mean, he's been around it for a long time, and I'm not sure he's come into this kind of situation where he doesn't have answers and he can't find the right ones. Now, the bottom line is it's his job. It's his job to do it.
And that's the thing. If he can't find the answers, then who's going to find them?
Well, do you get the sense that he's kind of just...
I don't know.
It's not like he's not trying, by the way. He obviously wants to win, all this stuff. But do I...
At what point?
When do you just take over the play calling as an answer, though? Like, there is an answer right in front of him that's pretty easy. But now, what we don't know is maybe he did. He might have already done this, and they're both just with headsets on. And, I mean, they both look like they're calling plays.
I know.
Half the time,
it's hard to tell.
But... like, that is a simple one, so that becomes stubbornness and everything else. So where's the line for Doug between frustration, finding answers, stubbornness, loyalty, pissed off, arrogance? I mean, you name it. Right? There's a lot of things going on here.
I mean, what's going to make him look worse, though? Like, what he's going through right now, which obviously is really bad, or if he starts calling the plays and they start having success. To me, that makes you look even worse. It does.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
It's too late. You're saying it's too late.
It's way too late.
Yeah.
And listen, like, I would love for him to, and once again, maybe he is calling the plays. We don't know because, here we are again. But I don't think he is. if he does start calling the plays and they have success, like, yeah, I would love to see this team win some games. I would love to come in here on a Monday and talk about something else besides press conferences and obviously just the bad that we see on the field. But if he starts calling plays and they start winning, that'll make him look even worse, because then we can sit here and say, well, where is that the whole year? And Shot, of all people, what do you think Shot Khan would say to that?
Yeah, and there's a big picture part of this. We got to take a break, but when we come back, I think it's time to talk a little bit more big picture again, and we've talked about it. But there's
next?
more of there's a really what's next on a lot of levels here in the next few minutes. We're going to also visit with Matthew Driscoll coming up, but we'll get to this part. What's next for Doug and Trent, this front office, this coaching staff, but also Trevor Lawrence? Like, where is that? And it probably, I felt like I left the news conference yesterday and actually failed on that front. I don't know if we would have got much of an answer, but we probably should have asked a little bit about Trevor yesterday too, and where is that at? Because I don't know when they seems like they made the decision Wednesday or Thursday not to play him, but they still listed him as questionable on Friday.
Brent, I'm just saying, during the break, if you want to give Hamby and me your cell phone, we'll just tweet something out real quick. We'll retweet a little bit of a diss track, if you will. If you thought Kendrick was bad, wait till we hear what we got to say, and we will get you on ESPN, the main network, tomorrow. I guarantee it. Just if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I understand. Like, you want to keep it low key, keep it small market, that's fine. But I'm saying, if you want to go on First Take tomorrow, just hand me that cell phone. And
Career bump.
I got you
right here. Jags Report live tonight from String Sports Brewery. We're working on Trayvon Walker, a salute to service nominee for the Jags. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Hopefully you'll come out and be a part of Jags Report live. We call it a therapy session on Monday night, 7 o'clock on Fox 30 in Springfield. Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on a Monday. Thanks for hanging with us, Brent and Austen Show. And, oh, boy, Jags go to 2-8. And, you know, I think you start to really look down the road now. I mean, we kind of all can't wait for this thing to be over, I think, already in Jacksonville. Just been a weird season. We've already said that.
Shock your mock.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that yet.
Oh, come on, Brent.
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Hey, we'll have Matthew Driscoll on in just a little bit, too. You guys like this one, huh?
I mean, I didn't like it, but...
Well, not liked it, but it's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
Byron Murphy with DeVille.
Give him a thumbs down. I mean,
they had the ray gun celebration.
The ray gun celebration. Props to Jacksonville, though, kind of standing his ground a little bit.
His ground.
You know what I'm saying? That dude was outnumbered, but he wasn't going nowhere.
And for not doing anything so bad.
No, for
right?
sure.
Like pushing a player or something.
Yeah.
Ray gun thing, everybody loved that. I guess. You didn't because you love her.
Yeah. I do, man. What can I say?
You're the ultimate defender of her.
I am.
Here's the thing. I want just to say this one more time, which I've said many times when I see these celebrations. If anybody ever says, they use the excuse of players don't have time, just please show them all the celebrations.
Yep.
The amount of time and choreographed nature of these celebrations. Like, how many times did he practice the ray gun thing to be able to nail it in the moment?
Yeah. A lot, Brent, because it's actually a pretty good dance because she's a pretty good break dancer.
So,
and I will not tolerate any slander.
These guys have plenty of time, okay? Not to do everything that you want them to do. I'm just saying, don't let time be an excuse because they got plenty. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We'll talk more about some of the other things like Deebo Samuel and the sunlight in Dallas. And there's a lot in the NFL that we'll spill into. Yeah. But I really want to go here first, all right? There's now what's next? Jags are going to lose most likely to Detroit. Detroit's just a really good football team. Even when they suck, they win. They have 5 interceptions and they win. I hate the Detroit Lions and I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. And the hatred comes from jealousy, folks, but I hate them.
I hate the Panthers, too. They win.
The Patriots and the Panthers even
Bryce
win.
Young gaining confidence, smiling on the sidelines.
I do like the Chicago Bears all of a sudden because I feel like I'm right about Eberflus. So you guys were the morons that kept them.
Yeah. And Giants are going to giant.
And the Giants are going to giant.
Daniel Jones, you know.
See you, Dable.
I'm trying to manifest it, Brent. What we got? Another week with Daniel Jones? 2 more weeks with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, that's it.
You know it's coming, right?
You
ready?
Who's their backup?
Who cares?
Drew Lock.
Some dude that, who cares?
Yeah, it's just.
I'm just saying, Brent, I know it's been a hard season for you. It's been a hard season for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I just want you to know, like, you can feel bad about the season, but just know there's another thing coming on the pipeline, too.
Diss track coming from me.
And that's the funeral of Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Yes.
When is Shad going to make a move? And again, this is not when you think and what should happen. And I understand you think already a move should be made in some respect, whether it's play caller or somebody on the right staff, if I'm hearing you right.
I just think, well, listen, this offense isn't what we thought it was going to be, and it hasn't showed signs of improving. If anything, now it's gone downhill. And there gets to a point, once again, and this is me speaking as a CEO of a company, which I am not, but I would assume, like, when you watch your company make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and it's not reaching expectations, it's not reaching the team goals, then a change has to be made. Now, I'm not saying clean house right now, but a change.
Yeah.
Something.
So you're just looking for
something where you can look at, something where if I'm the owner, I can go, you know what? This is not acceptable. This has to change. It's just something to point at.
Yeah. And nothing has to that point. And a lot of people do change coordinators or whatever else in the middle of the season. Heck, Mike Norvell just fired his offensive defensive coordinator, and now that's toward the back end of their season, right? But again, that's the point. I think Mike Norvell doesn't want to fire those guys, but something has to change when you're as disappointing as this.
Because if you don't make a change and it's more of the same, then you're saying, well, this is okay. We'll just allow this to keep happening.
Yeah, and just to put things in motion a little bit here, I got a feeling that Shad's going to have a lot of his Flex and Gate folks up in Detroit and everything else, and if they go get walloped like we think there's a possibility they get walloped, I mean, that would just add to it. Shad's not really I'm firing people because I'm an embarrassed guy. Like, we haven't seen a lot of that. At least we don't feel that. But I think the timing is right for something to happen. Now, is that, Doug, is that press? It's not going to be Ryan Nielsen. It just can't be. We thought earlier this year they could make a move with a guy like Phil Rauscher. I actually think he's really done a pretty nice job overall if you look at this offensive line. They weren't great yesterday. They got beat up. They are beat up. Trent Baalke move, do you make the move now so everybody knows it's reset? Like, what are his responsibilities for the next couple months? Could he be the domino that goes first? I don't usually think you see that. Like, I don't feel like I've seen that a lot where it's the GM's out at the bye week. So you have Ethan Waugh to run things if you want to, by the way, in that respect.
Yeah, I just think, like, okay, if you let Baalke go, we'll say after Detroit. And by the way, like, you know what it is now, Brent. Like, if you're the Jaguars, you're literally praying that the Lions are going to have the worst game this Sunday, because that's the only reason I think you can win. And guess what? The Lions might have had their worst game against the Houston Texans. Yeah. So, like, I really don't see them doing a repeat performance of what you saw against Houston, which they still won because, you know why? Well, they're a great team, and even when great teams play crappy, they still find a way to win.
Yeah.
I think if you let Baalke go, whatever, this week, after, the bye week, whatever the case may be, what does it do for your offense? Because to me, the offense is the problem right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of issues, right?
That's the change defense, for change's sake.
Exactly. Like, the defense isn't doing, once again, they kept them in the game yesterday and gave them plenty of opportunities to win. But if we're looking at a main focal point of what the issue is, it's this offense, right? And it doesn't matter if it's Trevor at the helm, doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones at the helm. The offense is not operating right now. And I think if you were to let Trent Baalke go and make him the scapegoat, what does it change in the offense? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think, so there's a couple of different ways to look at this. And I don't necessarily think you appease fan bases and so you fire people to do that. I don't think Shad's done that. Shad's actually strong, right?
Appease yourself, Brent.
But the Baalke thing shows a complete potential change in the structure if you were to move on from him. Again, very rare, I think, in the middle of the season to move on from the GM like that, unless it's late, like 2 weeks to go, and you just say, hey, coach and GM are gone. But so I get what you're saying. I think it does make sense, but here's the deal. We know there's a loyalty, Doug, to press. And Doug to his whole staff. I think that's important to say. I think Doug's loyal to his whole staff. So do you say, if you're Shad Khan, it's like, Doug, either make a move on your staff or you're out. I mean, is that the conversation that you have? Like, make a move, see what you can do with this thing, or announce it, you're calling, whatever it is. And I know that wouldn't appease you. I'm just saying,
well,
again, we're looking at what
Brent,
are the possibilities to say if you're Shad without saying everybody's gone and we're not going to field the coaching staff.
No, and this is what I asked for.
You have 6 games left.
No, for sure. And I feel like this is what I asked for 2 weeks ago, where if I'm Shad Khan, I go to Doug Pederson, I go, listen, this isn't working right now, okay? This offense is not what we thought it was. I'm the one who got in front of the team and said, we have the best assembled roster since my time here, okay? And I'm kind of looking like a fool right now. So with that being said, the offense is not what we thought it was going to be, so you need to make a change. You need to figure out how we can improve and how we can get better. If that's calling plays, then so be it. And if you don't want to make a change, and if you want to be stagnant and say, I know more than everybody else, and you think what you're doing is fine, then I'll make the change for you. Like, simple as that. Like, it's crazy that we're having this conversation of, Shad Khan's got to come in and make the change, because usually it's the head coach's gig, right? Yeah. We saw with Norvell.
Yeah.
I'm sure Norvell didn't like letting his dudes go. It's never an easy gig in the NFL, but it's a performance-based business.
Yeah.
That's what you're in line for, okay? Florida State, not performing, obviously. Changes had to be made. Jacksonville, offense, not performing. Changes needed to be made. So if I'm Shad Khan, I give Doug Pederson the opportunity to make the change. If no change happens, then guess what? Then I got to be a CEO, then I got to be an owner, and I got to do it myself.
Yeah, and because even the Norvell thing, that came from the top too. Like, athletic director was like, hey, listen, this isn't good, right? We got to do this. So I honestly believe, I don't believe much. If you listen to me, I don't believe much about the fans saying after week 3 or 4 or 5, like, hey, Doug's going to get fired or this is going to get fired. And the reason I don't is because I look at it from the owner's perspective and what he's done. And we've had many of these conversations. I don't think I need to repeat it. But Shad has a track record. Shad has a trend. We've seen this enough. He's unfortunately had to do this a lot of different times. He likes to wait through the season. I think because of this disappointment, because of the whole play calling thing or the offense thing being part of the collapse of this, because maybe even Trent Baalke, because he told him this was going to be a really good team and it hasn't turned out that way, I feel more than ever that maybe the bye week is when it's going to happen. And from a business standpoint, you mentioned it when you started this. If you're a CEO or if you own a company or the business isn't working, well, the business needs to work. And the business, you've got renewals coming out in a few weeks. You've got a next season to sell. You've got the whole stadium momentum that you just really sold and convinced and got everybody on board with. Like, there's a lot of outside things going on that also need to be factored in. And when you do, I don't think this is a head start to get the next head coach. I think you have plenty of time to get the next head coach. There's going to be a long line for Ben Johnson or the GM or whatever else. And there's going to be a lot of competition, quite frankly.
Yes.
So if you fire somebody with 2 weeks to go in the season or you fire him at the bye week, I don't think you get that much of a head start. I know it is in theory, but I don't think you actually do. This is more about the business side to me. This is like, what are we selling? We just saw a purple stadium yesterday and not a teal one. And you've got more home games, and you've got 6 more in the regular season, and you've got to give this fan base something to buy into. And right now, there's not. And whether it's right or wrong, Doug had 2 pretty good years here by Jag standards. He's done more than a lot of coaches have done, quite frankly. But the way this is trending, the fans are out on him, and they're giving up on him, and they're done. We talk about the coaches lose locker rooms. Doug has lost the fan base. And Trent lost the fan base a while ago. He never really had them.
Sure.
If we're being honest.
And here's the thing. Jags Twitter doesn't run the organization.
No, they don't.
Shad Khan knows this, right? Remember the whole clown movement thing? Oh, Trent Baalke was still there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I understand that Jags Twitter, and take Twitter out of it. The Jags fan base doesn't run the organization. But guess what? If you're Shad Khan, you need the Jags fan base. Okay, you need them to show support and show up to games, especially with a new deal coming down the line, right? And if you don't make a change, if it's after the bye week and it's more of the same, and once again, I'm not going to give the Jaguars a chance here against Detroit. We'll break it down this week. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be good, but assume that the Jaguars lose to Detroit and you don't make a change, and you're hosting a divisional opponent December 1st in your home, in your stadium. What are fans supposed to think then when it's like, okay, well, we're going to have the same stuff? Like, you're not going to make any kind of changes? No different play calling? No nothing? Just more of the same? Then why should the fans show up? Like, what hope do you have then that you're going to go to the Texans game and see improvement? that you're going to go to the Texans game and at least, have the hope to see a win? There is none.
No, there's none.
There's none.
And on top of that, Austin, then you get us into the other part of this conversation when it comes to the future, and that is Trevor Lawrence. And that same fan base might not see Trevor Lawrence play again this year.
Yeah.
And they might not be able to see him play on December 1st. Now, I think there were some reports out this morning that he could miss. Guess what? Everybody's been saying he could miss. The could stuff. All right, we get the scenarios. It's obviously a shoulder where Jay Gruden, by the way, wasn't as wrong as we thought. It looks like he's going to need some surgery at some point. Yeah. Whether he has it now, next week, 3 months from now, who knows? But it looks like he's going to need it if you factor everything together. I can't tell you that I know that, but we've heard similar rumblings that everybody else is reporting about this injury. And I haven't changed on this front. I think I might have said it Friday. I think they're going to continue to go. You'll hear Doug say probably, hey, we're going to see where he is this week. I doubt they're going to say surgery. He could, but I think we're going to see where he is this week. I think they're going to hold him on against Detroit. They're going to try to get him another week with the bye. And if he feels a lot better and feels like he can go, which I think he wants to go and he's tough, we already know that part, what it says to the locker room, all those other things. I think he'd rather hurt his arm more than not play, quite frankly. Agreed. I think he'd have to be talked into surgery. But if it's not where they want it, where doctors want it, I think they'll try to talk him into surgery and shutting it down. But if he can come out of that bye week and give it a go, then he's got 6 games left. And to try to create momentum, whatever you want. Again, I believe there's something to that. Nobody else really seems to agree with me. I think Trevor playing well or Trevor having some good moments down the stretch of the season could build into next year. This guy hasn't had enough good moments, too much scar tissue, obviously physically, but also mentally. I don't like where it sits if he's got to go sit the rest of the season. But I think part of that equation is maybe this is the time when you're making that decision and you think he can come back after the bye week to say, you know what, we're also going to get rid of the noise of some of the coaching staff and some of that. We're just going to go clean slate for 6 weeks. We're not playing for much other than let's try to build a little momentum into this offseason.
I said this last week, and once again, Groundhog's Day, so I'll repeat myself. My biggest fear now, because obviously you're not going to go to the playoffs, so my biggest fear now is how this whole Trevor Lawrence thing is handled. Because if he purveys the fact that he wants to go and the doctors say, yeah, it can be risky, but he can still play, and the Jaguars organization chooses to shut him down, I think that could set you up for problems down the road with Trevor Lawrence.
Internally or with Trevor? With locker room or Trevor?
I'm saying with everything.
Okay.
With players, locker room, but with Trevor Lawrence most importantly. Because if you have a guy that wants to play and you say, man, you know what, man, there's nothing really to play for right now. Let's just sit you down. I don't think it's going to go over well with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think it's going to go over well with a lot of players in that locker room. And regardless if the coaching staff is there next year or not, I think that could be the formation of issues down the line, of resentment.
Listen, we did a story this week on Brandon Sheriff and the offensive line playing through the stuff that they're playing through, and it's remarkable, right? And you guys, as former player, Austin and stuff, this is a different world. We got people calling sick today to work because they got a runny nose. I mean, listen. So I had surgery on my bicep. I come in the next day to my morning show. They were in shock. They're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "It's my job. It's what I do." It's a different world that people can't really grasp. They can't. But I think internally you guys are so used to it and accustomed to it and trained for it, you don't even acknowledge it sometimes.
It's what you
when
do.
It's going on,
That's part of the job requirement. It should be at least.
Yeah, and the stuff that Brandon Sheriff and other guys like Anton Harrison are battling through is commendable. And I think it's worth saying because it's different than our world on the outside is the whole point of that. But if a guy can play, and Doug kind of has hinted now, or not even hinted, he said it, that it's pain tolerance.
I know.
Does he lose respect in the locker room if he doesn't play? And I know that's your big-time quarterback, and people understand the nature of the business, but how important is it for the locker room as a player, what you're playing through here in November, to see a guy he could, but it's probably better to shut down? Do you lose respect a little bit for that guy?
But it depends. Listen. The locker room talks, Brent. So, what's happening with Trevor Lawrence? They'll know. I'm coming from the benefit of the doubt where I give Trevor the benefit of the doubt, where it's okay, he wants to play, but they won't let him.
I think
that's what I think it is.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, if Trevor, for whatever reason, wants to make a quote-unquote business decision and shut it down, then yeah, you can lose some of the locker room. But I don't see it going that direction. Like I'm saying, my biggest fear is that he wants to play and they won't let him, because you can use a locker room that way. Like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
A little bit.
Okay? Because if Trevor comes out and says that I want to play and they won't let him, the locker room will find out about it, because the locker room is its own jurisdiction, and they'll say, well, then forget this. Like, forget, Doug Pederson, forget everything. Like, what are we doing then? We're sacrificing our bodies, but Trevor gets a pass? How does that work? So that's damned if you do. And then you're damned if you don't, where if it's Trevor Lawrence saying, well, we're not really playing for the playoffs right now, okay? We're not really playing for anything. My shoulder hurts like a mother. I'm sitting this out. The locker room will find out about that too. And then once again, now you almost have like an internal combustion where it's like, oh, our quarterback doesn't want to play for us? Then why am I playing? So like there's the only way out of this really is if you let him play.
To play. Listen, there's one part of this that is real life. I mean, if you're in a corner and you're in a fight, you have corner people in there to make decisions for you because
to save you from yourself.
That's right. So that's a good way. That's what I was looking for. Save you from yourself. And so there is that element of it, right? I mean, Paul Posluszny wanted to grab his helmet years ago when he had a concussion. They had to take it away from him, right? There are again, my view on this is Trevor wants to play. He showed us that last year. But I also think this is maybe a smart move instead of him trying to play, not practicing, try to get hurt again, still try to play. Just take a couple weeks here, try to get healthy, and then that's okay. Like what this is right now is okay. But to your point, if you can battle through it at the end of the year, when those guys are battling the most through the misery of this season, I do think there's a message to be sent there. If he can just have the surgery in the offseason instead and still have a 3 to 4 month recovery, I think that's the way to go. And by the way, I think that's the way he'd want to go. He gets it. All those things that you just said, he knows. He's a very good CEO. He's a very good leader in that respect. He understands his role, his position. So I have got to believe Trevor gets the fact of, hey, listen, if you rest it for 2 weeks in the bye week, you've got a better shot of finishing the year.
Sure.
You can talk me into that.
And let's go with that.
But then let's go. And so that's why I do think he's going to play again. And I would say he's going to put off surgery as long as possible. And this also is not an injury that looks like it's going to be a year and change of recovery time. We think it's kind of an injury that would be like a 3 to 4 month type deal, which you have time in the offseason for that. So there's a lot of dominoes here. I don't expect to see Trevor this week. And I'm not telling you I know all this information. I just don't expect to see him this week. And because it's logical. Why play this week when you could rest again for another bye week and then come out of it and play the last 6?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Delphonic says, only reason to forcefully sit him is if he can get worse if re-injured. And I don't know the extent of that. This whole AC joint thing, the nature of his injury. Listen, guys play with AC joints a lot over the years. They also play with labrums. It's a non-throwing one, right? So it's not going to affect too much how much mustard you put on a pass to Brian Thomas Jr. Be nice if they threw it to him. But that part you don't think is going to get re-injured. Now, there's no doubt he can somehow re-injure it or injure it a little bit worse from a pain standpoint, everything else. He's playing a violent game. So this isn't like, okay, a walk in the park type deal. But it's obvious he's going to need some kind of surgery at some point to fix it the way they want it to be fixed.
Without a doubt. And once again, my biggest fear, Brent, and go ahead and bookmark this, if we're 2 or 3 years down the line, and for some reason there's some discrepancies with Trevor and the organization where you get the vibe like, man, what something doesn't seem right here, I'm going to go back to this. And I'm going to go back to, did you let him play if he wanted to play? Or did you try to talk him into shutting it down when he was ready to go out there for his teammates? Because I'm telling you, you could run the risk of not just, this season is obviously a wash, but I'm saying for years and years down the line, with your franchise quarterback, it could set yourself up for some problems.
All right, let's do this. Take a time out. We come back. We might talk to Matthew Driscoll. How about the UNF Ospreys?
Brent,
some attention.
Our shining beacon in Jacksonville. Man, all my hope. Hey, I'm not going to lie. It better be a Final Four, Brent, because that's what my expectations are now. It's got to be a Final Four. Like, this is what the city needs.
What the hell, Amby? We just got excited for a
What
second.
are we doing?
It was already
what the
loaded.
hell?
Shock your mock, Brent?
Brent
Shock your mock?
Austen
Shaki Mock?
Can you imagine they're going to get? Can you believe this? Do you know that if they had 2 more wins, they'd be like the 7th hole of the playoffs right now? It's not that hard.
Brent, can you just talk me off the ledge real quick? They're not going to have the number 1 pick, right? Like they'll start winning a little bit. Brent?
I can't imagine they have the number 1 pick.
Brent? They don't have the number 1 pick. There's no way.
There's no way.
Can you imagine the Jaguars on the clock, number 1? Oh.
Carolina has 3 wins.
Yeah, but Bryce Young's the truth, man.
Wins.
You know?
No need to double deck.
We'll be back.
Scouting the field with trucks. They help boards lay out. Names shine and flock. Fans tuned in for another season. It's Chuck Your Mock.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
People helping people is at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town, and I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Austen back again, make check. Shock your mock, we rock. No need to double deck. Jaguars.
Oh, they got Shock Your Mock over Matthew Driscoll's Let's Go.
Wouldn't be a Hamby signature showing if
we
didn't
need
have...
to draft Driscoll as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How about this, man? They got the win last week over South Carolina to start the year.
All right.
Then they beat Chattanooga by 24. I'm sorry,
Charleston Southern.
Charleston Southern.
Yeah.
And then to do what they did yesterday against Georgia Tech, this is obviously something that the Ospreys have put out this last week, but I wanted that nice play by Lateris right there.
Man.
Lateris. I think I always say Lateris. I think it's Lateris. I'm going to double check on that.
Yeah.
But man, they might be really good. It's hard to know if a team's really good early in the year, but they're really good right now. And
Yeah.
it should be an SEC and an ACC. I said this last night, I think on social or on TV, I can't remember. I don't know if anybody's ever done this. Has a mid-major ever done this? Have they had 2 wins over like a Power 4 in the first week of the season?
I don't know, man.
Good for them.
But it's great. It's great to take my hope that was, with the Jaguars, and now it's getting transferred and it's getting hauled off. It's getting U-hauled to the UNF Ospreys.
I thought it was so funny or ironic yesterday that obviously, Brent, you're live tweeting the game, the Jags game, and then like every, seemed like 10 minutes or so, it'd be like, Jags do something stupid, can't get off the field. Hawkinson catches his 80th pass on third down. Well, at least UNF they're maintaining their lead, and then a couple minutes later, at the under 8, UNF still leads, and
it's hope, Hamby. People got to have hope in this city.
Mac Jones fumbles the snap, and oh boy, what are we doing? Well, UNF just won. They're 3-0.
I was watching both, look, obviously, and maybe that's why I didn't see the rock, paper, scissors celebration. But what happened was interesting in that game. Okay, they get off. They were down by like 8. They were down 24-16, which is that's what happens against the ACC. But both teams were scoring fast. And then the next time I looked at like 24-22, but there was a little gap where I didn't look. I think I went down and saw Steph and Ty in the stands or something for a bit, and I didn't look at the score. And I came back, and it's 43-39, something like that, with 4 minutes to go in the first half, and the Ospreys were winning. I'm like, all right, now, you're deep into the half now, and you're still scoring. Then they so I watch it some more. They take a 53-49 lead. Then again, I kind of go away at halftime for a minute, come back, and all of a sudden they're up 66-60. And then I look again, they're up 77-60. They go on a hell of a run. So the point of that is they didn't just beat. Like the other day, they came back from South Carolina, executed well down the stretch, and that game was a 7-point game, the biggest against South Carolina, and then they pulled it off and won. This one, they basically controlled the game against Georgia Tech out of the ACC.
Yeah.
They controlled the game, and with 14 minutes to go in the game, they were up 15 plus, and they never really relinquished it. I think it might have got down to like 11 at one time, and that was it. This team's got some grit to it, but they're good. They can score it. 103 points against an ACC team, man. Great stuff happened at UNF.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
And I don't know what it – I know what it means because UNF is like the darling of college basketball right now, Hamby. They are the darling. You go tweet or look at all the tweets.
Yeah.
Look at all the college basketball guys. They're all like, look what's going on. And what I love about this, and I said this a little bit last week when they beat South Carolina, we love Driscoll, right?
Of course.
And he's just a great human being. Their staff has been together forever. They're all fantastic people. but they're really good coaches. And UNF over the years, and Stephen still has different challenges than other college basketball programs have. You know, everybody would be like, well, how many championships did they win? They had a Liberty in the league for like whatever it was, 7 years. Liberty has like a $50 million budget. UNF has like a $7 million budget or something in their athletic department. It's not even a fair game, right? It's basically the Pirates and the Yankees is what you're talking about. So, like, there's different things without getting too deep into it. But there's also, like I'll say again, there are people, and those people know who they are, that we're starting to raise some noise about we need to go in a different direction. And I've just always said this, and kudos to Nick Morrow for knowing it, the athletic director. This dude is perfect for this job. All the things that come with the job, all the things that make it sometimes challenging. This guy is perfect. This staff is perfect. And then you look at Chaz Lanier, who's at Tennessee. He's going to be an NBA guy most likely. He averaged 1.5 points like 2 years ago at UNF. And they've turned him into an NBAer. Potentially. That is development. That means you can coach, right? You can teach. You can do all these things. And they've had a system that's worked and continues to work, and it looks like it's working at a crazy new level right now. They've battled injuries. The transfer portal is not good for schools like this in mid-majors. They're battling through that, and look where they are right now. And this doesn't mean they're going to go and be a team in March. It doesn't mean they're going to make the NCAA tournament. That's the interesting part of the season. Right?
Sure.
Because you go 3-0 and you beat 2 Power 4s, but really all that matters is you win your conference. You got to win, right?
I mean, they don't think count strength of schedule. It's like, no, you got to win your tournament, man.
So there's a lot to still be written about this season, but I also can't deny the fact that UNF, see, their pilot program, we know it is basketball and men's basketball. And when they went to the tournament in 2015, you get all this attention. You get all this love. You get your name brand out there. You like stuff you can't buy. That's why making the tournament is so important for a UNF. And it raised admissions and it got momentum and all this. Well, I've never experienced it here because this is very uncommon for a team like UNF to beat 2 power teams. But they're actually getting that right now. Like they are getting maybe not NCAA tournament kind of exposure because we're not in March and it's still football season, but they are getting the kind of exposure right now that you can't buy. And so this season, in many respects, 3 games in for the program, for the university, is already a monster win, even with just 3 wins.
It's amazing because, like, listen, we see this all the time in college basketball. It's a game of basketball. Like, you know, sometimes the far superior team is going to lose, right? So, okay, maybe you play South Carolina. It's a one-off. UNF got lucky. All right, cool. They win. But then to do it again at Georgia Tech, now all of a sudden we're not talking about it being a one-off. Now we're not talking about it being an anomaly. We're starting to talk about, well, maybe this is an identity. Maybe this is culture. Maybe this is coaching, right? And I think it's a pretty cool thing to talk about right now.
Yeah, and they got Georgia tomorrow.
And they do have Georgia tomorrow. Georgia's pretty good, though, right?
Yeah, they always seem to. The MO of Georgia basketball is that no matter what the roster looks like, they're probably going to underperform, but they have looked better so far.
But I thought I read something about like Mike White likes this team. I think there's some good momentum on the team. I don't know. Listen, I'll be honest with you. It's early in the year. We're still in the middle of seeing if people are going to get fired around here, right? We don't. Basketball locked in, not yet. But what the Ospreys are doing is locking us in. I'm locked in tomorrow night. I was locked in during a Jags game to the Georgia Tech game because I was like, I want to see if they can do this again.
Oh, I'm locked in, man. I'm ready to drink some more Hamby tears when Georgia loses again.
I won't be at.
I can't wait for the. I can't wait for the state. Okay, well, I can't wait for the state of the state of the team address tomorrow, Hamby, from you.
Look,
the Lane train came through.
I'm way more locked in on football right now.
Well, go ahead and lock out because after that performance, you might want to get on that Georgia basketball team.
Well, first of all, chill out. Second of all, let's talk about something that we can all agree on, and this is a disaster right now in Gainesville. And I don't know, Brent, if you wanted to go here, but the word is that he is going to coach tonight.
He is going to coach tonight. I'll get to that in a moment. I got a couple more things on UNF real quick.
See how fast I got off of Georgia?
Yeah, you did.
Nice job, Hamby.
We'll get to this other stuff in a minute. But this is what I love. See, I grew up in Rhode Island, so Providence and URI, right? And when they'd make the tournament, it was a big deal back when I was a kid. In 1987, when they went to the Final Four, that run was just unbelievable. Billy D, by the way. And, I mean, there were shirts at gas. Like, we were wearing shirts and all that stuff. I was 10 years old. It was awesome. And then I go work in New York, in Albany, and we have Siena and the University at Albany. I was actually there for the transition. Albany went to D1. And a couple years later, they would make the tournament. And we go follow them, and they're 16 seed against UConn. And they led UConn all the way through to the 10-minute mark of the game. They were up by like 12 or 13. The whole country was watching. And we thought that was going to be the original 16 beats of one. They had a kid by the name of Jamar Wilson, man. He was really good, and he carried them through and they were beating UConn, and then UConn blitzed them. Holy cow. UConn turned like a 12-point deficit into like a 15-point win in a matter of 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But it always stuck with you. Siena did similar things. JU, we know the story here in town, right? Even when I first got to town, they were on the verge. East Tennessee State, Belmont, they played in a very good conference at the time. It was a different looking conference back in 2008, 2009. In my first 2 years, I think they were in the championship game under Cliff Warren both years. We saw 2015, what it did for UNF and that program, who was still a baby, quite frankly, in Division I basketball. And it's just a beautiful thing what mid-major college basketball can do. Different than college football, different than college baseball. Mid-major college basketball can do for a university, for a town, kind of get them excited about things. And that's what it's all about. That's what March is all about. That's why March is so beautiful, because Gonzaga used to be UNF this week and then turned into Gonzaga. Right?
Well,
because if you're 20 years old, you have no idea Gonzaga used to be UNF.
And the problem now, too, transferring NIL is the fact that we're losing those mid-majors, man. They're dying out. So anytime we get a chance to kind of propel one and celebrate one and put one on a pedestal, you got to do it, because it's few and far between, it seems like.
Austin, it's still the wackiest thing about this whole transfer portal NIL. I think I totally missed, at least in the early going, what this was going to be. I thought it would separate the have and have-nots, right? The haves and have-nots. And the top-heavy people would be so much better. What we're seeing in college football, Hamby, it's actually squished everybody together some, right?
Yeah.
Weird. And I don't know if that's just an early return or if that's going to be the normal thing, but are we going to get that in college basketball too, based on maybe you have a team that's stuck together a little bit, although harder to do, because if you have players, right, people are going to come pick it off.
Yeah.
But you can maybe, at a mid-major level, go get a couple of high school kids and develop them kind of on the quiet, while everybody else is paying people to go get a new guy where the chemistry's not there and everything else. And then when you have a program like UNF, when they know who they are, what do we talk about with the Jags? What's their identity? Who are they? You know what UNF does? They know who they are. That is who they are. And they believe it, they breathe it, they live it, and they play like it. And win or lose. Good or bad. That's what they do. And I think it's really paying off right now. And maybe will pay off in this era because they know what they need to go get. And as soon as you walk through the doors at UNF, you know what the program's all about. Right? So just pretty cool stuff. But I love mid-major basketball for that. Different than any other sport, I think, in what it can do for a university, a program, and even a town. I think we might have a chance to get a little basketball fever here this year, which doesn't happen in Jacksonville a lot, quite frankly. It should happen more. I think JU and UNFs, it should happen a little bit more. But it's fun when it does happen, and the Ospreys have people's attention, which is pretty cool. The other things to bring up, by the way, on a totally different level, is the Todd Golden stuff at Florida. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, guys, because it's a weird story to really talk about. I don't think we know enough. It's a report, student report, by the way, and they've done I would say, a good job reporting it. Now, Todd Golden issued a statement over the weekend saying, this ain't it, right?
Defamation, contemplating defamation.
Yeah, so, and he didn't, somebody brought this up, he didn't refute every allegation, but he did bring up the defamation part of it, right? So, we'll see where that goes. I think if I understand this correctly, that the University of Florida can't really do anything while investigations are going on.
Correct, because it's Title IX.
So they can't even, Title IX, good point. That's why. So they can't talk about it. They can't really make any actions, I don't believe. I mean, I guess they could suspend him with or without pay while the investigation's going on, but I don't even know the specifics of that. Bottom line is he is coaching tonight.
Yeah.
And this is just on top of a lot of other stuff in Gainesville right now. So it's a mess down there. they've got themselves a mess, and this is very significant. And here's the other part. Looks like he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he was really doing some things and building some momentum on the basketball side of this in Gainesville. And now what? So that's a weird one. Hey, college football weekend sucked.
Every team from Florida lost.
Did you know every team from Florida lost in the NFL and college? 0-11 going into tonight's Dolphins game against the Rams.
I had no idea.
Tampa.
That's wild.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah. Dang. Not good.
That is not good.
No.
Georgia looked terrible, but Georgia's been flirting with this, right? I mean, listen, Georgia has not been great most of the season, not by the standard they've set. And it caught up to them, Hamby, at Ole Miss. I mean, they really got boat raced.
Yeah, I mean, we got whipped. We got whipped up front. It was their D line made us look like a JV team. Our offensive line, which the word on the street was Ole Miss has the best defensive line in the country. And I didn't buy into that. Now I knew they were good. There's no refuting that they are good. But that they're number one, they had one sack against LSU in that overtime loss, right, a couple of weeks ago, and I just
pretty good showing against Arkansas. Yeah.
I mean, they gave up 31 points to Arkansas, who you kind of know exactly what you're going to get there. But this is what it told you: Georgia's not a national title contender. They never were this year, and that shouldn't be that hard to believe, considering when we did win national titles, we were giving up 9 points a game with a defense that was shut out anybody. We don't have that this year. Simply put, we don't have a quarterback that can go out and win the game with everybody else.
A lot of hype too around him, wasn't there?
With everybody else down. If everybody else is not playing up to the potential, we don't have the quarterback right now who is able to elevate everybody else around us. We have not recruited well enough at the recruited well enough at the receiver position. Colby Young, our one X receiver and our one downfield threat being out, has not helped. And look, when you recruit, when you focus, I'll make this my last point.
Getting recruited.
When you focus all of your recruiting on the trenches, right, and you don't go after a lot, or you don't secure any 5-star receivers, when you don't succeed in developing all of those O linemen,
turn up a little more.
Right, and you get whipped, you have nothing left, right? Because you were solely relying on your line to be able to have time to get the football down to these 3- and 4-star receivers. And when you get whipped, it's not on Beck. He literally had no time to throw the football. You could see that from the play calling that they were trying to get the ball out as soon. I think he had one drop back and throw over 25 yards in the second half. That tells you all you need to know. We'll make the playoff. We'll be a second or third round exit. It's really disappointing.
We get 2 headphones for
Wait a minute. So do you think you're going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
What do you have left?
We have Tennessee this week. And
so that's a pseudo playoff game right now.
That is a playoff game. That is yes. That is
but both teams have 2 losses, right?
Yeah, winners in.
But hey, we're going to get to Tennessee in a second. Can I have 90 more seconds, please?
Sure. Please. Okay. I'm loving this, man. I'm chasing this with some Whataburger ketchup.
Okay, look,
I hear you, man. Somebody get me a bib.
I'm pissed at the football game because we're dropping passes.
Oh,
right.
Come on.
And I'm pissed at my team. Okay. It's nothing against Ole Miss's team. It's nothing against Lane Kiffin. But then you want to storm the field.
Don't be mad at that.
How can I not?
Don't be mad at that.
That's the expectation.
It's a big game.
You're a 13th ranked freaking team in the country and a 2.5-point underdog, and you storm the field like you're Vandy beating Bama for the first time in 50 years.
Don't be mad about that. Don't be mad because Carson Beck was laughing on the sideline. See Carson Beck laughing too on the bench?
Not a big deal. Don't give me
not a big deal. He goes.
Wait a minute.
Brent, don't do this, man.
They have 50 wins in a row over anybody. They haven't lost to anybody not named Alabama since 2020, and you just beat them at Ole Miss. It's a signature win.
It's the expectation.
No, it's
you
not.
rush the field when you're a freaking 25-point underdog, not when you're 2.5-point underdogs.
I love it, man.
You came into this year thinking that you were a national title contender, that you were locked to make the playoff, that Lane Kiffin was the guy, that you were going to be in.
Might
you
cry.
beat Georgia. Good for you. Celebrate the win. It's a great win for your program. You've never done it because you're Ole Miss.
Hey.
Don't freaking storm the field, and you better daggum sure not do it early.
That's that stadium pulse, Hamby. You know,
Gosh,
that's
that
that stadium
pissed me
pulse.
off.
Hamby, if you could, okay, so this past 10-minute
What did Lane
conversation
Kiffin
you've had.
say when they panned to him when guys are storming
Oh,
the
no,
field?
he wasn't happy, penalty and everything, but deep down, Lane Kiffin was pretty pumped up. Hamby, if you can take this audio from you the past maybe 5 minutes and some change and just record it, make it, and then put it in vinyl. And make me a nice vinyl disc of it, because I have a record player just waiting to play some new audio, and that's gonna be my focal point, Brent, for the next couple of weeks of just that breakdown from Hamby right there.
Absolutely freaking pathetic.
Oh man, Brent, I love it.
So a big one coming up for Georgia and Tennessee. We did get a little pseudo playoff game with Alabama and LSU. Alabama rolled them, so LSU's kind of a joke, right?
Can we do a Nick in the Daytime Hamby watch party?
That would be good.
Kind of like Barstool does sometimes.
Good,
oh yeah,
Nick doesn't have that grit though. He doesn't have enough chip on his shoulder.
Oh, Nick's got grit now.
No, he's gonna pick Georgia to win the football game. I guarantee you.
Really?
Yes.
That actually is a great idea, though. What time's that game Saturday?
7:30, I think.
Ooh, primes. That's a little later than my.
We got stuff going on Saturday. I'm in Detroit, but
is it in Tennessee?
No, it's
at Georgia.
First freaking
Between the
good game
hedges
we have at home all year.
who's going to play for the SEC title? So,
who knows?
I mean, it's crazy. I guess it could be the Aggies and the Longhorns, right?
Don't even.
Yeah, Texas looks like the lock now, kind of.
That's crazy. That Texas A&M's.
No, not A&M.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
A&M had to fall from grace.
Okay, I was going to say.
done.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, but A&M's 5-1 in the SEC.
Still,
And what do they have left? They've got
because Le'Veon Moss is out, and
they lost to South Carolina, but they got New Mexico State and Auburn. They're going to beat. Oh, they do play Texas.
yeah,
So they still got Texas.
and that'll be their third loss, but second.
Well,
in the
second
SEC,
in the SEC.
but still.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. 3 undefeated teams in college football, by the way. Can you name them?
Oregon,
Yep.
BYU,
Yep. I know the other one too because I want them to. If they beat Notre Dame, they're
Army.
gonna be in. Yeah.
There's more than 3. I don't know why I just saw that post. I don't know why. Why did I just see the post that said if your team's still undefeated at 3? I thought somebody put that out, but there's a bunch of other teams actually. Who'd you guys say?
Oregon,
BYU, Army.
Good job.
Thank you.
Oregon, BYU, Army.
I mean,
Yeah, I think they missed BYU because Indiana's the other one.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they're
BYU
just
is
4.
undefeated, right? Yeah.
BYU is undefeated.
They escaped, and that's when
Yeah,
the AD
1 by
came
1.
out.
That was crazy.
The AD made a beeline for the post-game
did.
presser. Have you ever seen that?
He got fired, by the way. Fined like 8 hours later. I mean, that was a quick fine.
Yeah.
He knew.
I actually thought it was a hold. Did you see the play?
No, I haven't even seen the play.
Yeah, I thought it was a hold. I mean, and I didn't get a ton of looks at it, but
I mean, you
I
don't
didn't
make
think it was
that
that bad
statement
a
for
call.
one play, though. He had to have been saying,
yeah, there must have been a lot. I didn't see
Right.
the game. It was,
Yeah, I
it was
gotta
a
go
late
back.
one. BYU, yeah, sneaky good. So I think there are 4 actually undefeated teams. Whatever post I just saw, it said 3. I think was erroneous. It was 4. All right, let's take a timeout. We come back. We talk a little bit more Jags football, the NFL. There's other stuff around the NFL, and also your story from the weekend on your birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
Oh, and you shying away from that now?
Oh no! I mean, I'll go full.
Seems like we all had something going on this weekend.
Yeah, we did.
We got
We
into
sure
mine.
did.
Hamby just had his get off the
Okay.
couch.
Oh,
moment.
I'm about to. Okay.
oh, and guess what?
I got you.
And guess what? When I was watching that game, I was surrounded by 4 children, 9 or under. One of them being my fiance's brother, her little brother.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I can watch the game,
And say what you really wanted to say.
right? Which I mean, I would have. I'm not a big, whatever.
Yeah.
But I had to be so calculated, and I was livid. And then we wanted to go play some made-up game upstairs, and
Maybe this is what Kirby Smart needed, man. Maybe he needed now, like no one's believing in Georgia to win the whole thing. Maybe this is the motivation that he needs now because that seems like what Kirby Smart likes to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're pretty average, but so is college football. That's the beauty of it. College football is average, and I think it's going to be a great college football playoff. It's going to be like those old heads in college football be like, what the hell took us so long to get to this?
I
Yeah,
still can't
you should have
believe-
changed it a while ago, you morons.
I can't believe BYU's like, ugh, what if they like do like go to the whole? I don't know. All right,
It's rainy day here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's going to look so different in like the next 5 years. This shot. We don't take this shot very often. It's going to look different. I'm excited about it.
like vibrant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Brent Austen Show on a Monday. And when we come back, Austin's got a story to share. And we've got well, trying to find answers about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still yet to come here on this Monday. Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC. We are professional grade.
It's time for your Swoop Minute, and it was a playoff clinching week for the Ospreys of North Florida in both men's and women's soccer. Saturday night's 3-0 home win over Bellarmine for the men's team clinched their spot in the ASUN Championship Tournament, while the women's team clinched their spot in the ASUN Championship Tournament after a 2-0 win over Bellarmine Thursday night. The result for the women's team also increased their unbeaten streak to 8 straight matches. With a couple matches left in the regular season for both teams, the playoff tournaments will start in early November. In the pool, the UNF women's swimming team broke a school record in the 200-yard medley relay on Saturday. Katie Carlos, Victoria Torres, Kayla Daly, and Ashley Kephart posted a time of 1 minute, 44 seconds, and 4 milliseconds, beating the previous record by less than a second. And remember, you can find schedules, information, results, and more on UNFOspreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back here to the Brent Austen Show. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby here on Monday. Jags are 2-8, and obviously it's no fun land around the Jacksonville Jaguars. Told Ty last night, he said something to me. I was like, yeah, well, he might have said something about the comment. I was like, yeah, well, it's going like viral again. And he's like, you're having a breakout season.
I like that. Brent says.
I thought it was a good response from the kid.
Can Brent capitalize on it? I don't know.
I thought that was kind of funny.
I like that. Yeah, that was really good.
All right, give us the story before we get to the Monday morning quarterback. Let's start off the noon hour with what you had your birthday weekend.
Birthday
by the way.
was
Happy
Saturday.
Birthday,
Thank you, man. I appreciate
it.
Yeah, we all have one.
Weeks. You got a big win.
We all have one.
You got the jersey retired.
We all have one.
You got a birthday.
It's fine.
I know. I like that about you. You don't care about birthdays much. 37. Like that's a goofy number.
It's nothing.
It's like Jonathan Cyprian.
Talk to me in 40. Sip Squad? Hating on Sip Squad now?
I'm not hating on him. I like Sip.
Yeah, Sip's a good dude. Yeah, man. That was good, though. So Saturday, in case you're new to the show and everything, you didn't hear my birthday last year, crashed a grade school party at Adventure Landing because I wanted to go on the go-karts, right? So had to lie and say my son went to, I think it was Providence, even though we didn't go to Providence, but thankfully he didn't say anything. He didn't rat me out, and we had a great time on the go-karts, played some laser tag. My gun didn't work. It is what it is. A bunch of kids having fun. I had a blast because I'm a kid myself.
I'll interrupt, which is one of the great stories of all time. You'll have to go back and listen.
Yeah. So nothing cool like that. So all right, what was I going to do this year for my birthday? Because I make a list out, and we got to stay on schedule, Brent. Listen, I'm not much of like a birthday Zillow or whatever, but when I'm with my son, man, like we got to stay on schedule. So put it upon myself this year. We go get a workout in. I hit some mitts, MMA. You got to keep the body in tune. So we did that. Fantastic. Off to a great start. Then I decided, you know what, man? He's been asking for a while. Yeah, it's my birthday, but it's our day because we get to celebrate together. Let's go get the new NCAA football game.
Oh.
So we get it, $70. It is what it is.
Is that how much these games are now?
Had to buy a controller. For whatever reason at Target, they're on sale for the Xbox controllers, like $50. Not on sale for PlayStation controllers, $80. Fine, not a big deal. All good. It's worth the moments, right? So we go back, we play. I'm Wisconsin. He's Oregon. And listen, this isn't what happened, but I'm going to tell this story quick because I just remembered it. So, my son is a lot like me where he hates to lose, right? Can't stand losing. Competitive, right? If I ever make a good point on this show, guess what? I'm going to make that great point on this show for the whole year. Like, I'll keep bringing it up. You know why? Because I like being right.
Like Kyler Murray?
I hate being wrong. Oh, yeah, Brent. You know what I'm saying? I like winning, okay? And so does he. But unfortunately, the biggest difference between me and him is he's not humble. Right? So, first play of the game, I'm Wisconsin, Tyler Van Dyke. Why he's still in the game, I have no idea. Should update the roster a little bit. Throws a pick six. Ronan takes the ball, touchdown, Oregon. And by the way, we're the national championship game and everything, right? He proceeds then to pause the game, get up in front of me, in front of the TV, the big screen TV, and starts dancing and saying, "It's going to be like that all game. You like that?" And as a father, I should have been like, okay, that's cute. We're having fun. As a competitor, as an Uber competitor, I took it in. I swallowed my pride. I waited for him to finish, which was like, it seemed like 5 minutes. He sat down. I go, keep the game paused real quick. I go, let me tell you something right now. I want you to remember this moment right here, Ronan. And I'm not lying. This is word for word. I go, I want you to remember this moment right here. I want you to remember this feeling. Because when it's the fourth quarter, it's going to feel a lot different, okay? So just remember this right here. Remember how you feel and everything? Because I'm telling you right now, son, in the fourth quarter, it's going to feel a lot different, okay? Well, it was 62-14 in the fourth quarter. Wisconsin doing their thing. And what does Dad do? Dad wasn't satisfied. Dad wanted blood. Okay, Dad wanted blood. So Dad scores another touchdown, 62-14. And there's about like a minute left in the game. Okay, the game's over. He's ready to quit. He's trying to quit. I'm like, no, we're going to play this whole thing out. I want to see them bring the BCS trophy to my Wisconsin Badgers, and I want to see Bucky Badger hoisted up. This game's not done, okay? And you brought this on yourself. So, like a minute left, I score again. What do? No, we're going for the jugular. Surprise onside. Surprise onside kick. Even Kirk Herbstreit in the game was like, I have no idea what they're doing right now. Boop. Surprise onside, get the ball back. 69 points. Wouldn't let me kick an extra point for 70 because the game ended. And needless to say, we learned a lot about ourselves that day. Okay?
Was he crying?
I ain't going to rat him out like that, but he wasn't happy. Did I almost record? Hey, did I almost make a TikTok account just to post that video of the reaction? Yeah, I did, but I was going to spare him that.
Just send it to his school teacher in case he ever backs up. This can be shown on the big screen on the whiteboard.
And you think I would have let it go? But no, I had to meet some friends that day too because it's my birthday. Did I tell every one of my friends hey, guess what? Ronan got beat 69-14. Absolutely. Wasn't going to let him live it down. Don't dance in front of me in the first quarter, son. You got to stay humble. So we learned a life lesson. Now to the story. We go to the Jack's Supergirl competition. Right, the surf competition.
Surfing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Food trucks, music, DJing, surfing. Say no more. We're there. So me, my friend, his fiance, and Ronan all take some bikes down there. Right. So I have my bike. Ronan has his bike, and then we had 2 extra bikes that they could use. So we go down there. We park our bikes. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Probably like 400 bikes. It was just packed there. Yeah, packed. Right? Yeah, it's packed. It's on a Saturday. So
several thousand people there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So hundreds of bikes are strung about. So I take my bike, my son's bike, right by the venue, lock them up. Mylon and his my friend Mylon, and then his fiance take a different bike chain, lock their bikes up. Cool. All right. So we go out. Food trucks. We watch some live music and everything. We walk on the beach, probably for a good 3 hours. It gets to be 7:30 now, and the last thing on the docket for the evening was, we're going to leave a little early from the competition and then the music because we got to go back and watch Deadpool. Because I decided I'm going to let my son watch Deadpool. So we're going to rent it and everything. We'll ride the bikes back, and we'll watch Deadpool. Walk back to the bikes. My friend and his fiance are staying to enjoy the show some more. Cool. We'll see you guys later. They have their own, they have the lock and everything. Cool. Go to my bike. My front tire's missing. Now, a little preface to this story. My bike, my other bike, and by the way, I love beach cruising. This is one of my comfort things. With my son, I love beach cruising, playing music. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. So the bike means a lot to me, okay? So my other bike was stolen from the garage because I left the garage open, went to go outside, the back patio for 2 minutes, come back, someone stole my bike.
Really?
Okay? So that's to set the scene a little bit. Got a new bike, spent some money, whatever. It's worth it because I love bike riding with my son. So I come back now. It's dark, 3.5 hours later, and my front tire's missing. And now, not only is the whole Deadpool movie in jeopardy, because how do I get home? But number 2, you just took away my comfort item, which is my bike once again. So I go from 0 to 100 real quick. Now, I'm in a sober state of mind. I had 1 barley pop and a $15 pretzel that I wasn't even mad about paying because it's so delicious.
And it's your birthday.
And it's my birthday, okay? I call my friend over with his fiance. I go, hey, dude, somebody just jacked my front tire of my bike. Can you please come here quick? So he comes over. And I go, Ronan, you're going to stay with Mylon. And he goes, where are you going? Hamby, play the role of my son real quick. Say, hey, Dad, where are you going?
Hey, Dad, where are you going?
I'm going to get my tire back.
John Wick.
John Wick.
Hammy, believe me when I say you would have thought my dog was just taken out because I was John Wick. And here's how crazy and diabolical I can get, right? This is why I stay busy where I'm not always in my thoughts. They cross the line, right? So now I'm walking on the boardwalk and I'm just thinking, I swear if I see a homeless person with just 1 bike wheel hanging out by their tent, I'm going to ask him one time, hey, give me that tire. If the answer is, what are you talking about? Boom. Not even going to think twice. Let him know, Hamby. Let him think twice. No. Did I Google how much jail time can I do if I assault somebody? You better believe it. Because I had some time to think. Because it's a long boardwalk. You've been in Jacksonville. It's a long boardwalk. So I'm walking. And I'm like, oh, for the love of God, please just let me find one person with, and it could have been like a toddler's bike wheel. I still would have took it because I'm this irate right now. Now, I keep walking, and Brent, I'm seething. I'm upset. Like, my son knows what's up. Yeah, my son's like, okay, dad's about to go do some work. I can't be with dad right now because dad's about to go get his bike tire back, right? I'm John Wick, okay? I'm John Wick.
He's got to go do work.
Now, did the thought cross my mind where when I have to knock out a homeless person to get my bike tire back and I probably have to go to jail, realistically, what's the jail time looking like? And I'm thinking, okay, I can do 3 months, 4 months. Do the show from the prison cell, and you know what? And you know what's gonna happen then? And listen, I don't get political on the show, but when Trump becomes in office, you saw Dana White at the Trump rally. You don't think Dana White's gonna call up Donald Trump and say, "Hey, I got Austen Lane, UFC fighter, in jail right now. Can you pardon him?" Hey, say no more, Austin. Go ahead, get out of jail. And by the way, we'll find the guy that did it, and we'll make him apologize to you. Like, that's where I'm at right now. I'm untouchable. I'm Irma Kraken from Kingpin, where the law doesn't apply to me anymore, okay? Because in a couple months, I'm going to have, UFC fan Donald Trump having my back. So, heaven forbid a homeless person's got my bike tire because it's going down. Needless to say, don't find the bike tire, all right?
Found it.
And it wasn't for a lack of effort. I kid you not. I was walking. I saw tents. I kind of gandered in a little bit. And then about 15 to 20 minutes later, I go get my son again. Now we're way behind schedule for the movie, whatever the case may be. So I ride my friend's bike, I bring my truck, I drop him off, and we get home. We watch Deadpool. Past my son's bedtime, stayed up to about 11 o'clock because, the bike situation.
You got Deadpool in.
Got Deadpool in. And I quote my son to say, best movie of all time.
Wow. Yeah. Good dad movie.
Now, we'll see if it carries over to school today, or I guess school tomorrow. We'll see. But so far, so good. Now, driving to the show today, right? And for whatever reason, and here's the thing too, I gotta tell this story real quick. We had to call my mom after, and my son is having a hard time understanding why I'm so upset.
Yeah.
And why dad was ready to go.
It's a bike tire, Dad.
Yeah, and my son was wondering, it's like $30, right? It's not a big deal. And I'm trying to explain the thing of principle, where that was mine. Someone took my thing. You don't let people take your things, right? Like, I'm trying to explain that to him and watch him punch somebody now on the playground on Tuesday because someone took his toy. Don't want to. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, Hamby. Appreciate it. So we call my mom, and the first thing Ronan does is go, somebody took Dad's bike tire, and I go, and I also beat him, 69-14 in NCAA, but he goes someone took Dad's tire. And I don't get why he's so upset. And my mom goes, oh, yeah, I mean, it's just a bike tire. Right? It's $30, but this is why my mom is a G. And this is why I will roll with my mom till the day I die. Because my mom even goes, the nicest lady ever, would never hurt a fly. She goes, but sometimes it's about principle, Ronan. Sometimes it's the principle of the thing. It's not about the money. It's the principle. So I had a pardon from my mom, too, where if it was going to go down, Donald Trump and my mom would have pardoned me. We're all good. I'm untouchable, but needless to say,
Wisconsin.
So needless to say, I'm driving to work today, Beach Boulevard, and for whatever reason, I'm still a little bitter about it. Right? Still a little bitter about it, man. Okay, and I'm listening to some. It's funny too. I'm listening to Kendrick Lamar. Comes on there, so I'm in a headspace. Now, I'm in the headspace because we're getting ready to talk about Doug Pederson, the press conference, and I'm trying to put my mind in that spot, right? Because I'm trying to defend your honor. I thought you did dirty yesterday a little bit, and you didn't say anything, so I'm not going to say anything, but I want to say something, so I want you to say something. So it's the mental gymnastics and everything, right? And I get just before the Wawa stoplight, right? And I turn to my right, and there's about 10 minutes left before the show starts. I look to my right, and I would probably give him an ocular pat down across the street. 6'3", 320 pounds, not wearing a shirt, a little obese and out of weight, wearing some jeans, no shirt, and I don't think he's wearing shoes either. And in this gentleman's hand is one bike tire.
No way.
Swear on my life.
No way.
Swear on my life. So I'm at the stoplight, and I go, still a little mad. Got to talk about Doug Pederson, though. Got the show to do. Got a job to do. Do I take, because you know how the Wawa thing works, where
you gotta flip
so
it around.
Do I flip it around, or do I just keep going, take a deep breath, and say, you lived to fight another day? I took a deep breath, and I live to fight another day. But believe me when I say, Brent, I was this close from turning around, pulling up on the sidewalk, and just being like, hey, can I see that tire real quick? Like, dude, all he had, didn't have the shirt on his back, wasn't wearing shoes. All he was carrying was, not saying it was mine, because it could have been like a serial offense, but all he had was a bike tire. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm getting tested right now a little bit, but cooler heads prevailed.
You took the
I came here. I took the high road. Now, if it was 20 minutes left before the show started, I would have pulled over. But I figured, like, all right, I got to get to the show on time. It's a big day.
You got to remember a couple of things here. Registered weapons are those hands.
Brent,
so you got to be a little careful.
Pardon?
I know the pardon's coming.
Pardon's coming.
Did you ever really look up, is it 3 months? Is it month? Assault? I mean, what do we got? Can you get off?
Well,
get a good lawyer?
I mean, it could be a little bit. But once again, I feel like, and this is, I'm kind of fuming, so this is what I typed in. I probably stopped my search history. If someone steals something from you and you punch them or assault them, how much jail time? And like, I didn't get the
little cause and effect.
I didn't get the clarification because once again, it was just, oh, well, assault, can lead to like months and months in jail. But it didn't say like, well, if somebody took your stuff and you assault somebody. So I don't know.
Do you think that was your tire?
Honestly, yes, I do.
You do?
Oh, dude.
I do. Because just about my bike, it's a bigger bike. I'm a big dude. And once again, it's just a tire. So it's so hard to tell. But it had a lot of the symptoms and a lot of the characteristics of my tire, yes.
Dude, you should have been so freaking late to this show.
All right. Oh, I can't believe you didn't. After the Saturday stuff and you're still a little
Well, here's the
steamy,
thing.
I can't believe you didn't turn it around.
Here's the thing.
I'm kind of glad you didn't, but I'm also disappointed.
Sure. It's a big dude. No, I'm not saying I wouldn't take him. But like, dude, he was sweaty too. So here's like, okay, I gotta so I'm gonna go up to him. He's not gonna give me the bike tire, and then I gotta shoot a double leg on this sweaty dude with this belly in my face, and then I'll get my tire back, and like I'll be sweaty and gross, and then I gotta
shower,
and then I gotta come talk about it is the principle though, Hamby, isn't it?
It is the principle.
Sounds like I have some. See, Hamby brought me right back.
Yeah, you got some
Hamby said the key word, and I'm right back into it.
There's another element of principle too, though. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Brent, that's child. What is Barney?
Well, I know.
What are we doing?
But you're talking to a 9-year-old.
So. Barney? Yeah, I know.
Trying to keep him away from punching people.
I know, but I've seen too much John Wick. So that's my problem.
Here's what I know. I'll be keeping my eye out. And I think I might just have to stop at that Wawa and get a sandwich or
two.
Dude,
hey, man.
And then,
let me know.
So I don't have to get that belly or anything like that. We can negotiate a trade.
Negotiate a trade, because I ain't taking a guy on for a bike tire. I can tell you that.
Definitely not 325.
I wish you could have saw my son's face, though, when I said, I'm going to get my tire back. Because, like, he understood, like, all right, Dad, like, dude, you would have thought I was John Wick for a second. Rowan's like, oh, wow.
Like, somebody's gonna pay.
No, for sure. Because I still have him at that age. Because eventually it's gonna be like, what are you doing? Stop. But like he's still at the age where like anything I do is cool. So
all right, you guys know me. I don't know much, but I'm a little confused on this parallel to the bike tire and homeless.
What do you mean?
Why did you know it was or think?
Because do you think a non-homeless person would steal my bike? I mean, I get like it could have been just somebody playing a joke or something, but Brent, there's like 400 bikes there, and like mine was like a little like kind of towards an alley. I figured it was a homeless person. Now maybe I'm judging and everything, and that I shouldn't be doing that. So
what
that's
do they
wrong.
do with it?
I don't know. Sell it, pawn it.
Is that what it is? Because
go ask the guy.
I was going to say,
by
what's
Wawa.
this guy doing?
I don't know.
By the way, he's 6'3", 320. He can't move that fast. He might still be there.
He can't.
Also, he went a long distance.
Well,
if that's your problem.
If that's, I don't know.
I just didn't know if that was a common thing, like they take tires off bikes. And
I have no idea. I mean, thankfully it wasn't my son's bike.
This guy's literally carrying a bike tire. That's it.
I swear, just all he had on him was a bike tire. Wasn't rocking shoes or anything. He just had a bike tire on. But like to be fair, like you know how bikes are set up. Like the back tire you can't take off. Yeah. But the front tire is pretty easy.
You can take it.
Yeah.
You going to get your bike fixed this afternoon?
Probably. I mean, I have till Thursday. Thursday's like the day that me and my son go riding together. Right. So I have a couple days to think about it.
Or find it.
Yeah, or find it.
Or see the guy again.
Dude, believe me. So like the moment when I lost my whole bike, me and my son, we went cruising for like 30 minutes just up and down. Like I went to every gas station just kind of like.
Did you?
Kind of, looking around a little bit. Because I have a very unique bike, but I haven't found it yet.
You still haven't found it. How long ago was that?
Oh, man, that was...
A couple years?
That was like before the show started.
Okay, yeah,
when that happened.
So almost a year.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I'm leaving tomorrow right? After you're home, and I see this gentleman.
Give me a call.
Okay.
Give me a call. Yeah, by the way, if I see the gentleman, I'll call you too. I'm not confronting.
Give me a call. Dude, honestly, like, no, I listen, I thought about stopping and turning around, but like, and this is crazy. This is coming from a UFC fighter, but I'm like, man, the guy's so sweaty. I don't want to like.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying too.
And he went outside, like, yeah, I don't know.
Fall into traffic on Beach Boulevard fighting over a front tire.
Yeah. But can you imagine, and Delphonic brings up a great point, like, can you imagine me like doing the show from jail then? I'd be like...
That'd be the greatest. It'd actually be the greatest.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be
a mug shot.
Greatest.
Tell you what, though, if I had my mug shot, I'd be holding that tire, I'd be like, hey, look who got theirs back.
Yeah, what a weekend, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
It'd be great if you go home today and the front tire's on your porch.
The guy's a listener to
Dude's
the show.
a listener.
Somebody
You didn't know it was your tire.
Yeah, in his pocket, he actually had a new iPhone, and he was listening to the show the whole time. I didn't see his iPhone in his pocket. Yeah.
Oh, man, what a story. That's unbelievable. I did not know. We had no idea what the story was, just so you know. So we had no idea we were getting pummeling your kid in NCAA football. Stolen front tire story.
Yeah.
And then finding it perhaps today.
Yeah.
See, because that's the part that bugs me now, is I really want to know if it was yours.
Yeah.
And we don't know, and we're not going to know.
No. But
we're going to assume. I like that also fact that we can assume that it was.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Straight up.
I mean, if someone sees him, I'm sure he's still walking on Beach Boulevard. So if someone listening sees him or anything, if you want to do the common courtesy, just ask, or take a picture, or just ask. I almost took a picture too, but like once again, didn't I don't know, man. I should have took a picture.
Regretting some of this now. But
yeah,
I'm glad you were here at the start of the show, though.
No, at the end of the day, like, it's just a tire, right? And yes, it's principles. And yes, I don't like my stuff just, going to somebody else. But hey, I have my health, right? I look cool in front of my son, so what more do I need?
Good. You had a good
and
job
my son stayed up till like 11 o'clock, so that was a bonus for him, too.
What a weekend. It turns out it was a good birthday weekend.
Great birthday weekend.
Minus the front tire.
Front tire.
Let's take a break. Brent Austen Show. When we come back, we will do the Monday Morning Quarterback, driven by your local Hyundai dealers. There's joy in every journey. There hasn't been joy in the Jags' journey. We'll talk about who's going to play quarterback next week for the Jags and some other things going around the NFL when we come back on the Brent Austen Show. It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Building off a summer of terrific action at Southern Oaks Stadium, the Jacksonville Armada are looking forward to the future and the return of pro soccer in Northeast Florida. Season ticket reservations for MLS Next Pro are underway, and for just $100, you can lock in some great benefits when it comes to supporting the boys in blue. Those who make a reservation will have first selection options in the new Armada Stadium out east, near Jacksonville's downtown sporting complex, as well as access to supporter VIP events like stadium tours, open training sessions, and future meet and greets with players and coaches. You can make your season ticket reservations at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket, and while you're there, read the very latest on the Armada men's and women's teams in action this summer. Show your commitment to the fleet with an MLS Next Pro season ticket reservation at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield. Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
It's the Monday morning quarterback presented by Hyundai here.
There's joy in every journey.
There's a what?
There's joy in every journey.
Yeah, if you have two wheels, but yeah, there's joy in every journey. I'm missing one wheel right now, but we'll get that rectified in a couple of days, Hamby, and we'll get back on the road as well. But Hyundais, I'm sure they always have four wheels, and no one's going to be stealing those wheels at the festival. Welcome back to the show. I'm Austen Lane. Do we know where Brent went? Did Brent get a call from the Jags organization?
No, he actually got a call from the local gas station. They've spotted the man, and
for real?
No, I'm playing.
Oh, dang. Okay. I'm like, let's go get him. Should we take this show on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, we can talk football all day, but wait, we have some, we have some things to rectify here. We have some things that steal back that were taken from us. But okay, nevertheless. But as the Monday morning quarterback, Hamby, I mean, you obviously got my thoughts about it. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of Brent's thoughts about it. I mean, did you go to the game, Hamby, or were you watching at home?
I was dialed in at home.
Yeah. And kind of more of the thoughts that we were sharing?
Right. Yeah. Let me ask you this. What's more surprising to you? Because I know and I'm aware that you weren't as high necessarily as on Mac Jones as Brett and I were.
Correct.
And so I think that you were proven right in that sense, but yeah. I think even you would have, correct me if I'm wrong, you would have said that you would have expected him to play better, maybe even just if it's more of a completion percentage and to at least not turn the football over 3 consecutive drives in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild because the way the game shook out was a lot like I thought it was going to happen, set aside from the defense having 3 turnovers, could have been 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the offense would be a little stagnant. I thought they would be slow. I was not expecting the opening drive touchdown. Like, that was different, right? We haven't really seen that a lot. We're talking about scripted plays now actually working. So, like,
what did they go? They did go 3 and out.
Well, that's true, but but
still,
to me, it's still like the scripted
absolutely.
plays, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still plays that they were trying to beat Minnesota with.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pleasant surprise. But no, I didn't think it was going to be that bad, Hamby. You know, and especially that fourth quarter and the turnovers and everything. Like, yeah, you can point your fingers on a lot of things, but the biggest thing being, you know, Mac Jones just didn't play good enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he'd be the first person to tell you that. Now, does it kind of show, like, with Trevor Lawrence, okay, people want to get a lot about him, and we don't want to read into the EPA and all that stuff, but if anything, it almost rectified the fact that, okay, well, if Trevor's doing this in this offense and he's having some moderate success, you know, what happens when Trevor gets a good offense?
Right.
What can it look like? And I think that's a conversation that can be had at the end of the season.
Yeah, Brent, that's kind of what we're taking with our Monday morning quarterback is, you know, did you learn anything, or what did this show you about Trevor versus Mac, and which conclusions are too high or too lofty that you've seen, and what's realistic?
You know, it's an interesting conversation that comes out of this game, but it's one that I don't get sucked into, if I'm being honest with you. And I'm not saying that we can't talk about it, and maybe you guys aren't right or people aren't right when you do look into it. I'm not a big fan of it. I think Mac could have thrown for 3 touchdowns in that football game. The Jags could have won the game, and I wouldn't say anything different. And so if I'm not going to say anything in that, then I'm not going to say much about it when it doesn't look good. I think these games are, you know this, I mean, these games are so isolated each week, and I also think you get a matchup that you like, whatever, you just play better. I mean, this football team has the ability to put a game together where they look really good. It could have happened yesterday if the offense moved the football and things worked and they got healthier, right? They had Gabe Davis back and other things. I could have seen a recipe where they played well. Did that mean that Trevor Lawrence is the problem? No, it was never going to mean that. And I just want you to be able to take that end of it as well. If Mac had played well, it didn't say Trevor is the problem, okay? And so therefore, if Mac didn't play well, I don't know if I want to boost Trevor crazy too much. I think right now this is just bigger picture about the offense not functioning very well. The offense is not working. Started the show by saying the offense appears to be broken. Does that mean Doug's offense just doesn't exist and work anymore in the league? I don't know if I buy that. I just think right now this offense, the way it is, an offense, by the way, for a 4-week stretch that was averaging about 28 points a game through the middle of this bad run, now has gone back to broken like it was in the early part, which was broken, by the way, a lot at the end of last season too. So we now have 3 different examples, healthy, injured, all this different stuff of this offense just not working with this collection of people here in Jacksonville.
You know me, man. I'm not one for, like, semantics or, like, well, what if this, what if that. But, like, if Trevor would have played,
they win the game.
You think they win the game?
I do.
Hamby?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in that ballpark as well.
Yeah, and let me tell you one other reason why. And again, I appreciate the conversation. I'm not saying that it's wrong to think the way I'm thinking, but I'm a big fan of Trevor. Like, I'm a big believer in Trevor. So I also know he's not perfect, but I also don't want to just sit here and say, well, it's everybody but Trevor. Trevor's had his own stuff, okay? Trevor's had times where it's not as good as it should be. I actually got a lot of heat when a couple weeks ago in the Green Bay stuff when I said, listen, Trevor, that was a lot on Trevor losing the football where he lost it on that fumble. Time and place of where you lose turnovers is an important part of this. You got to know when you can't do it. I do think Trevor should have some blame in last week about the play at the end of the game. It can't happen. So if your coaches put you in a bad situation, sometimes it's got to be the $300 million quarterback to overcome that stuff, right? That's what complementary football is all about. Maybe not necessarily just offense, defense, and special teams, but also, hey, I pick up my coach or I pick up a player when they don't actually do their best, right? So there's more inside football stuff there. But I am a big fan of Trevor, and I do wonder if you can just say, this offense with Trevor Lawrence isn't where it's at because the offense isn't good right now or hasn't been for the better part of a year.
And listen, there's no silver linings with that game yesterday. Oh, I mean, I guess if you want to talk about the punting. I mean, seriously.
No, I'm not good.
Okay, well, it was fantastic. You even said get him in a Pro Bowl.
Well, he does deserve a Pro Bowl. He's very good.
So there's that. But I think what this game did for me yesterday, and it's not really a silver lining, but it's just an observation that I had. Second series, whatever it was of the game, when Mac Jones, leads them down there and they score, I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe this is going to be the Mac Jones breakout game. Maybe we're talking about a guy who's going to have 4 touchdowns or whatever, return of the Mac, all this crazy stuff, and maybe you're going to be able to ship him off for a second-round pick, a third-round pick, whatever the case may be. I started to see it going in that direction. I'm like, man, I guess I was not expecting this, but it makes sense, right? For a former first-round pick in New England, didn't do many favors. Okay, here comes the Mac Jones breakout game. So I was getting ready for it. I was like, okay, here we go. And then obviously it doesn't happen. Then obviously the fourth quarter is what it was. But to me, watching that offense, and I get they weren't on the field for a long time because the time of possession was insane. But watching that offense try to navigate that Vikings defense, it dawned on me that it almost amplified the people that say it's not Trevor's fault. It's more of just what's around him and what he has at his disposal. And I've always kind of been on the fence. I'm like, some of it's got to be Trevor's fault. Everybody, we can't just say. And some of the stuff is right. The fumbles, right? Some of the interceptions,
maybe some of the checks at the line.
He doesn't get off. Yeah, he doesn't get off clean here. Don't get me wrong. But then watching how this offense was working, because once again, I compared Green Bay. We've seen a competent offense with a backup quarterback still win games, still have success. And watching this offense yesterday, it dawned on me where I'm like, man, I can be pretty hard on Trevor sometimes. And I think rightfully so for the amount of money that he's making, where he was drafted, expectations, all these things. But then I'm watching a backup quarterback who was a former first rounder himself, who I still think has some good things about him. We saw it in the preseason. I get it's the preseason, but still there's still some things to like about Mac Jones that you hope another team can see. And here's a high draft pick for him. But it dawned on me where I was like, man, I don't think it really matters who's the quarterback in this offense right now. I don't think anybody's having success. You can put Josh Allen's different, but you can put maybe Josh Allen in there, and would you still win ball games? I just think it doesn't matter who the general is. Who's the leader in that huddle. It's just going to fail. And that's that to me then comes more to coaching again, Brent.
Listen, I think the coaching stuff, and I'll be the first to say, I don't think these guys are bad coaches. I just think, it's not working. What they're doing is not working. Mm-hmm. And they have so many holes to plug that now you're just scurrying to try to fix in the middle of a season. The plan went awry at the beginning of the season, not necessarily on offense, but the whole thing. The defensive plan went so awry that you're trying to make up for a defense that's not bad. It kind of changes the way you think you need to go about it. You don't need to score 24 points. You got to find a way to score 30 points because of this defense most of the season so far, not necessarily yesterday. So now you start adding other pieces to the equation. It's where do you start to fix? Because sometimes it's, what do we always say? It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So where do you go fix it? Well, I wrote an article Saturday night, guys. I'm going to tell you this right now. And my plan initially was to put it out in the next couple of days. I'm now having second thoughts about putting it out over the next couple of days because of kind of the press conference yesterday and things that went on. Then I don't want it to look like piling on. But I literally wrote an article Saturday night and have several people that could vouch for that, that it was Saturday. Okay. Because I've had this on my mind for a long time, and it's appropriate that it's Detroit week.
Sure.
Right? And I've said this when I was back on ESPN 690 a year ago. We've said it earlier when we just jumped in the show together back in February again, and we had these conversations. We'll have to go back and find it, but we had these conversations about what does this franchise need. And I think at 2-8, this really comes to light once again, from identity to protect the organization to transparency to other things. And I'll probably get into that stuff a little bit more later in the week. But there's something else that jumped out at me last night. I watched the sit-down interview with Jared Goff before the game. Mm-hmm. And I want to be careful how I say this. That's a guy that had scar tissue.
Of course.
That's a guy that had failed as in general as a number 1, number 2 pick.
Yeah, I mean, he
failed to the point where they gave up on him.
Correct. Yeah,
they thought
labeled
they
as
could
a game
do better.
manager. Yeah, he was a game manager,
and he was scarred by that. He was hurt by that. He said it in that interview, like how much Like he was motivated by it, which everybody would as a competitor, but it's there. And when that stuff's there as a quarterback, it's a tough position in sports. You're always under the gun and under the microscope. It's tough to overcome that. But maybe the best thing, and you've said this before, by the way, about the trust and the belief in Goff, but I think it came out to me there listening to Goff, not necessarily Campbell, that the best thing that Dan Campbell did and that staff did was infuse confidence back into Goff.
Sure.
I don't know exactly how they did it. They did it with some success. They did it with a better offensive line, but they did it probably with a lot of words and confidence and everything else, much like Doug had to do to Trevor coming off the Urban year, which was a disaster. And I think Doug was starting to do a lot of those things. What I do think has come up here in Jacksonville is that splintered a bit. I don't necessarily say their relationship. I just think some of his frustrations, Doug's, is the lack of development to where he wants to see Trevor right now.
Sure.
Well, what I see from the outside is the development is kind of stalled. To the and is that Doug and Press's fault? I would say partly, yeah, that's part of your job. But what I saw from Campbell and Goff in that instance was, and I saw this also from O'Connell and Darnold, I see this infusion of like positivity. We believe in you. You're the guy. Nobody else believes in you. We believe in you. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to be careful about saying it, because I'm not telling you that Trevor is mentally weak and soft and all that stuff and needs that. I don't think he does. He doesn't need kid gloves. But that affirmation sometimes can help.
Yeah.
No matter what. I think I heard somebody say it, was it last night or was it this morning? And they played with Brady. And so they used this example, and I'm sorry, I think it was Good Morning Football, and I'm not really sure exactly what it was, who was saying it. But they said, like, Belichick would get up in front of the room, and he would do the whole thing at the beginning of the week where this is what we got, this is what we got, hey, this defense good, it's going to be challenging defense, blah, 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 blah. But we got the guy that can beat it. We got Tom.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if those are conversations that are taking place in the Jags building. I don't feel like they are.
No.
I feel like there's a little bit more like, damn, he threw that ball again. He shouldn't be throwing that ball, right? It's not, we got the guy.
I mean, shoot, did you see Kevin O'Connell's postgame yesterday?
I did, and I'm telling you, I saw, we don't have it, but his
I'll get it.
He had 3 turnovers. He looked like crap.
Of course.
Sam Darnold.
Horrible.
And O'Connell comes back and is like, hey, it's the toughest position to play.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, we're going to get through this. He's fine. He's played great all year. Blah, 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 blah. All that stuff.
Sure.
I don't know the exact words, but it was that kind of tone. What did he do to Anthony Richardson last week, right? He infused confidence in that young man post-game. So I feel like, without getting on Doug too much, I feel like Doug has such an expectation for the position because he's seen it so great that he actually exudes more disappointment in Trevor, at least from the outside looking in, than he does all this positivity and you're the best and you can do this and we got your back. Now, I want to be clear here before you go.
Yeah.
That does not mean I think there's this feud between the two.
Okay.
I'm sure there's plenty of positive stuff. I know there's confidence, Doug and Trevor. There's confidence. But I'm just saying from the outside looking in, I witnessed it with the Goff interview. We've witnessed it with Campbell and stuff that he said publicly without even watching it behind closed doors. We're witnessing it with O'Connell and even a guy like Darnold. I don't think we feel that here in Jacksonville, even when things don't go right.
So, great points. Something that I never really even thought of before, honestly. And so, I mean, listen, it's your article. You choose how you want to approach it. But that should be out there on the web because I think that's a great. I've never heard it before, and I think it's a great point. The way that you were talking about Belichick and wherever that was from, it reminded me when we had Mojo, and it reminded me of how Jack Del Rio would always put, like, you know, when we're breaking down our opponent, he'd always go like, "All right, Mo, it doesn't matter who we're playing, but you know, we got to do this, we got to do this. Mo, you're gonna have 100 yards against these guys, no problem." Like, it wasn't even a fact of like if he has it's like no. Maurice Jones-Drew will get us 100 yards. He'll do his part, and then other guys got to do your part. Like, it was an afterthought. It was like you're brushing your teeth. It's that easy. Like, yeah Maurice Jones-Drew have 100-something yards and some change. Doesn't matter. Yeah, we got it. You know, when you break down the career of Jared Goff, and Super Bowl competitor in Los Angeles, right? Like, took his team to the Super Bowl. Now, was it McVay? Probably. Was he more of a game manager? Sure. But I think it speaks volumes. And this is why I'm such a big fan of Dan Campbell. To me, the turning point of Jared Goff was when Dan Campbell called him out and said that he's got to play better. Because I remember, I'm pretty sure I watched that live, when it happened, after the game, and I remember thinking, dude, it's Jared Goff. Relax, Dan Campbell. You're trying to make this guy Aaron Rodgers or somebody. Just relax a little bit. But then when you look deep into it, if you're Jared Goff and your head coach calls you out, you have one of two options. You can go, bleep you. What do you know? You don't know me. Forget you. I'm going to do my own thing. Or because you care, because you respect the coach, you say, he's right. And I'll take it upon myself to get better. And I had the same thing for me at Murray State. I've told this story before. I thought my stuff didn't stink. I was starting for 2 years. My coach pulls me aside and says, you're underachieving. You can be so much better. And you don't even realize it. You're not working hard. You're doing yourself a disservice. I was pissed. And you know what? And at one point, I didn't take the Jared Goff route. I said, well, forget you then. If you think I'm, you're going to call me out in front of everybody, forget that. What happened? I calmed down. I got better. I saw what he's actually trying to do, motivate me, and it worked. The same thing worked for Jared Goff. And now he's the top 5 highest paid quarterback in the league, as he should be, because he's that good. That's why that relationship is so important, Brent. Right? Because if Jared Goff would have heard he's got to play better, he's so much better than that, and Jared Goff goes, middle fingers, forget you, you may have lost the team. But Jared Goff, because he respects what Dan Campbell was trying to do, goes, you're right, coach. I'll get better. And he did. And now we're here. We haven't seen that with Doug Pederson.
No, and it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, because there's a lot of closed doors, stuff, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I want to just be careful of. We don't know everything, but we haven't seen it publicly.
No.
So to your point, and I will say this 2 things. I bring this up a lot. When everybody brings the relationship between Doug and Trevor, and now this could change, but it was just in September, I sat down with him, and he said he admires Doug Pederson. You don't go from admiration to, all right, I'm going to the owner and getting him fired in 2 months. Usually, you don't do anything like that, right? And I'm not insinuating that he even went to the owner and said that, but that's what people on the outside continue to insinuate, I think. The thing that I would say to wrap this all up, which could even be probably another whole show tomorrow on this, is Doug at multiple times this year, because he just hadn't been good in the podium, has, at least it's been interpreted, that he's got a problem with Trevor, right? Or hasn't backed him to the degree that some want him backed. And I think people have made a bigger deal than it actually is. But if you look at these other examples we show you, and you go to your example alone, there's 2 ways that he could do this with Trevor. He could be like, listen, this guy's, we got a quarterback that's terrific. He could really blow some smoke. Or he could take one opportunity to be like, listen, he's got to be better. And I've said this in the past, where you can go to Trevor and say, listen, man, I'm going to say something today because I want it to resonate throughout the team too.
Yeah.
You're not oblivious to this, right? You're not free from this. And I think this message will really be good for the team. I love you, but you're going to hear it. And my guess is Campbell might have said that whenever you heard that soundbite or whatever else.
Yeah.
So you say, listen, man, he's got to be better. You raise the expectation of that quarterback who's getting paid $275 million to everybody.
Correct.
The problem with Doug in this last year, at least it feels like, but maybe as a coach, is there's too much gray area. So instead of getting either that or this guy's the best, we love him, he's awesome, but like O'Connell did to Darnold.
But that's been the theme the entire season, Brent, is the gray area.
The gray area is too much. It's just another example of gray area, which leaves for interpretation, which to me goes back to the lack of transparency. But I think it also is probably an underbelly tone type thing in the building that maybe doesn't jump out at you, but maybe is the reason why this has gone a little sideways. Too much gray area in that building, whether that comes to do with the weight room or the game planning or how you feel about a player or who's going to play or what we're doing. Are we offense, defense? What are we fixing? All those things. If just a little bit of gray area, that starts to permeate throughout, and now you lose the main thing. And you don't keep the main thing anymore.
Yeah. And listen, some of the greatest coaches I've ever had, like, yes, every coach is going to know the X's and O's, right? Like, you probably wouldn't be, no matter who you know, you wouldn't be to where you're at if you're an NFL, whether it's a head coach, whether it's a coordinator, whether it's a position coach. You know the X's and O's.
Yeah.
But to me, like the great coaches that I played for, that I respected, they knew how to operate around people. And that, I feel like that's the biggest difference. I'm not saying like Doug Pederson isn't a people person, because I think he comes from a coaching tree that might celebrate being a people person more than any other coaching tree in the NFL. But for whatever reason, in terms of communication, in terms of being a people person, you got to have communication. And like you mentioned many times in the show today, we're not seeing it. There's too much gray area. There's too much there's not enough transparency. And when you have that, you lose communication. And when you lose communication, you lose people.
By the way, we'll go deeper into the article. The article wasn't about the quarterback stuff. That was newer. But the article is about Detroit. And again, I'll put it out there at some point. I just don't know exactly when in the next week or so, because I did write it, so I don't want to waste it.
Yeah, man, you put the work in, at least get some kind of clout.
Saturday night, I'm writing an article. We don't usually write articles, but we've talked about this kind of stuff, and we'll talk about it more as we get closer to the Detroit game. I think there are two secret sauces to the Detroit Lions that the Jags don't have in their organization. And I think Shad Khan needs to look at the Detroit Lions, will be the main idea of that story whenever I feel like hitting the send button. We'll take a break. Look at this. You mentioned Jack Del Rio, arrested for drunk driving. This just came out, obviously, a half hour ago. He's like a special advisor, right, to Fickle up there in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Man, Jack, listen, we like Jack.
Yeah.
Jack, I don't want to, he's just really had some bad moments the last handful of years now, from Washington to now this. So,
this was today, Hamby? This just came out? Or?
He was arrested Friday.
Oh, so it was Friday, so people just saw it, of course.
Gotcha.
So that's the latest with the Jack Del Rio, former Jags coach, if you don't know that, but I'm sure many of you do. We'll come back. We'll tell you how the Everbank game plan went. Probably not too well, and we'll put a bow on the show next. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
What an opening week it was for the Ospreys of North Florida on the basketball court, picking up not one, but 2 Power 5 wins to start the men's basketball season. It all started early last week with a 74-71 win over the South Carolina Gamecocks in Columbia, a team that played in the NCAA tournament just a year ago. After a midweek win over Charleston Southern at home, the Ospreys did it again on Sunday with a 105-93 win over Georgia Tech in Atlanta. It is an unbelievable 3-0 start for the men's basketball team in 2024, and it's a fantastic finish for the men's soccer team as they have earned a top 2 seed in the ASUN tournament for the first time since 2016. And remember, you can find schedules, information, results, and more on UNFOspreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, the Everbank game plan. Don't forget to check out the Shadows. Still some home games, and there's a contest that you can win and be a part of the Shadows at the Vault with the Everbank. So check out the sweepstakes going on, and we will check out the Everbank game plan right now. I think it was stop explosive plays is one of the things that we said.
Yeah.
And he did a good job.
Yeah.
You know,
Come on.
They really
give him some credit, Brent.
They really did a good job. Listen, this team has been embarrassing in that department.
Okay.
Right? I mean, this is a week where they went 3rd and 17, gave up touchdown, 3rd and 22, gave up touchdown. We have said they've been stubborn. Mm-hmm. They're waiting around for this to work, their plan to work. I will give Ryan Nielsen credit that I think I read somewhere, somebody said, again, I don't claim to know all these coverages and stuff. Part of the reason I asked the questions. But did you see? I mean, they played like basic shell coverage, right?
Yeah.
Most of the game.
Yeah.
Which what they were doing is basically saying that we're not going to give up the good big play.
Correct.
And you're going to give stuff up in front of you. And I think their plan overall worked. Could they have played the sticks a little bit better on 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s? I think they could have. But they got turnovers. They bent, didn't break. They gave their offense a chance to win the football game. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't perfect. But it was better. And they made a change. They adjusted. And I can get on board with that, guys. I think we need to see more of those. Whether it's a simple adjustment or week-to-week adjustment, it gave you a chance to win.
Correct. It's the most important thing.
And they stopped explosive plays. I mean, I'll say it again. Justin Jefferson, it's remarkable what that guy does.
5 for 48.
I didn't notice him and Jordan Addison were even on the field most of the night. But
you know what's wild? Like,
I know Hawkinson we noticed.
We noticed, but still, and once again, time of possession was obviously in favor of Minnesota. But even like when it was like double coverage or it seemed like he wasn't open, they still try to go to Jefferson. They still try to get him his targets. They still try to get him his yards.
And in different ways. Remember the one time he sat back and he just was like a 5-yard play, but it was like a little, he was standing there. I was like, why is Justin Jefferson back there instead of down the field? You know why? Because to get him the ball.
Try to get him the ball.
That's it.
Meanwhile, Brian Thomas Jr.,
every receiver in the NFL gets it.
We'll talk more about Thomas tomorrow, I think. We didn't get really to that. That was the Everbank game plan, by the way, and I thought it was pretty well done by the defensive side. I mean, Again, gave him a chance to win. But you can get your guys to football in a variety of ways, and that was the proof of that. And they might not have given him enough touches, by the way, even Jefferson. But they tried to go to him some other times, and it was defended by Tyson Campbell well or an overthrow. They tried to get him 8, 9, 10 targets, no doubt about it. All right, Wild Monday, obviously. We're heading down to Doug. We'll see what he has to say about Trevor and other things at 1:45 today. We got Jags Report live tonight. Happy Veterans Day. Salute to Service weekend here in Jacksonville. Come on out to Strings. And we think we're going to have Trayvon Walker. We're still waiting to confirm that. But you can watch it tonight on Fox 30.
Stay strong, Brent. We got you.
Have a good day, everybody.